Oh, where my page went. I don't know what happened. I was on here somewhere. I'm like, wait, what happened? Oh, okay. Mhm. What happened to my page? I have no idea. All right, welcome back. I don't know where I went. Okay, I hear echo. Um, what? I hear myself twice, which is kind of weird. Mhm. Uh-oh. Do y'all hear me? Hey y'all, how you doing? Do y'all hear me now? Okay. Okay. So I hear an echo. I'm not sure what a source is coming from. It's just kind of weird. And I'm hoping I can resolve that right issue. I put together a good show. I actually did go back and check to see. Oh God, this is weird. Mm-mm. Can y'all hear me twice? One second. Hello? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. All right. So y'all can hear me. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Oh, this is kind of weird. Hold on one second. Don't know why. That's still me. I have no eyes to get through this. I can't tell you what it is. Okay, so I put together a good show for you, and I looked into the whole minority partnership thing that we talked about earlier, and it seems. Let me know if I hear echo. It seems that they've had minority partners since 2000, and Magic Johnson was one of the first ones, and the Williams sister was one of the other ones. So it seems it said there is not an echo. Okay, thank you. All right. So I don't know if y'all heard, but Shedeur reached some more sites. It's heights. It seems that he is the first rookie with 700 yards who ever played for the Browns, regardless of how long the Browns been around. He's the first rookie to amass 700 yards in 3 games. So that's another stat for you. Um, And it seems once I had a chance to look at Coach Prime and Jimmy Haslam meet up, um, I formulated some opinions, but I kind of needed some context. Was that before the game? I think it was because Jimmy said, let's just say 12 had a good game. All right. So It seems that Jimmy was shockingly nice, but not really surprisingly after seeing Kevin Stefanski. So, of course, I'm going to ask y'all, what do y'all think about the interaction? I'm going to tell you what I think about the interaction. Um, it just, it just kind of seems to me that if that was before the game, then nothing. You know what I mean? The only thing that changed was the flip of the switch. Now, the media, on the other hand, uh, in Cleveland, is basically one set of podcasters on the 92 channel said that, "Hey, it doesn't matter what's happening. Can we just bury this?" And a lot of people are like, "No, we can't just bury it because they lied on Shedeur." Shedeur was abused all summer long by Stefanski, and now that the media and the Browns are talking about Shedeur being good for the team, they should build around Shedeur. It seems they've been given talking points similar to the corporate imagery, with Shedeur being the guy. And that might explain the flip of the switch. Um, but as you can see, when the game started, after Coach Prime ran into Haslam, as you can see, it started off like normal, normal sabotage, predictable play calling, but then they reined Kevin Stefanski in. So chances are maybe they were letting him make an AZZ out of himself so they can have an excuse to fire him. Because I find it interesting that all of the local media is now singing Shedeur's tune. They can build around Shedeur. They don't need Mendoza. They need to get an O lineman. They need to get wide receiver with those top picks. That's how they're framing it. That Shedeur could be the guy going next year. And remember what I said, that understand they still got Deshaun over there. And for what I'm seeing, Shedeur is supposed to be the one, with Deshaun being the two. If that's the case, what does it mean for Dylan? That's a question. Let me know your thoughts about what it means for Dylan if they build around Shedeur, draft O lineman. They said the only O lineman coming back is DeJuan Jones. They didn't even mention Cornelius Lucas. Again, Barry just brought him in this year, and I hadn't really seen him. So I know they need more O linemen. I believe they need more receivers, but they need to do something else on special teams. The question is, should the defensive coordinator now be elevated to the head coach? They're not even considering Tommy Reese, which I find very interesting. Before Stefanski turned over the play calling to Tommy Reese, it seems like he was next in line to be the head coach, unless he's still planning to take that job at UCLA. Let me know your thoughts about that, because I find that interesting. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen. This is how I got in trouble the first time. I was sharing my screen, and somehow uh, I'm on here twice. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to go through what I have curated for us to look at. Okay, so you have people. Who is this? Grant Cohn. It says when Shedeur Sanders plays well against the Titans, they'll stay calm down. It's just the Titans. But when Brock Purdy plays well against the Titans, he's the most efficient quarterback in the NFL. And what do I categorize that as? Racism 101. That's just what it is, right? It's not excusable. It's not okay, but that's what it is, right? They're basically trying to find a way to discount Shedeur, like they did all summer long in Cleveland. But that Dylan has a supercomputer. Dylan can learn and process quickly. I said it back then. Those are stereotypes that they use against black quarterbacks. So people calling it out. Kevin Stefanski has actually made himself public enemy number one. The pressure from the national media, which is echoing fire Kevin Stefanski, is thick. Now you know the national media represent who owns 10% stake in ESPN, the NFL. So for the national media, which typically is politicking for the NFL, to all be echoing fire Stefanski, including Skip over there at Arena. He had some choice things to say about Stefanski, saying Stefanski just couldn't stand for Shedeur to tie up the game. Like he didn't want Shedeur to be the hero. Um, I mean, I agree with Skip on that. I don't always agree with Skip, but yeah, people were trying to understand why they called what Stefanski recalls as a 2 point play instead of saying it's a wildcat. Because when you think of 2 point conversion, you think of quarterback throwing into the end zone or running it in. He don't want to say wildcat out loud. And the media kind of was firm trying to get like one reporter asked the question and the other one followed up like to make him try to answer, and he avoided the answer. So Kevin Stefanski has made himself public enemy number one. The national media want him fired. The local media on the ground asking questions, pretty much trying to pin him down. Um, Podcasters outside of Cleveland, like myself and others, even with if it's Shannon Sharp, Cam Newton, Debo, and Joe, anybody. Well, they all want Stefanski fired. Now, the 92.3 station wants to ignore what happened in August and let's bury this stuff. So there sounds like there's been some memorandum. Do y'all think Coach Prime's presence and his interaction with Jimmy, the way he obviously was showing forgiveness or acting like nothing happened, you choose, um, made the difference, and that's why they flipped the switch. They obviously knew Coach Prime was going to be there because you can hear Jimmy say, and we're going to take a look at it, but you can hear Jimmy say, "Do you need anything?" And Coach Prime was like, "No, they showed Coach Prime in the suite, and he's up there with like the guy from Tyler Diamonds and stuff like that. So we're gonna take a look at that. But before we get there, if you already started, let me know what you think about it. Now, the sentiment under the comments on the Coach Prime's page is Coach Prime is just playing the game to get through it. I'd say he extended God's grace in choosing to let God fight that battle. Because what did you want him to do? Now he could have avoided it. He could have avoided him, but he didn't. He could have he wasn't gonna act crazy. Coach Prime is a class act. But Jimmy's reaction was very, this is the second owner to be hospitable to Coach Prime now. Remember, when Coach Prime was in the Raiders, there was no type of sweep from the Browns. But now, before Shedeur's name is started, before Shedeur was out, Coach Prime has extended hospitality by the owner, Jimmy Haslam. So, and he clearly knew Coach Prime was going to be there. So these guys, right? When Shedeur plays well, it's just an excuse. And when say Brock Purdy does, they make excuses. Like somebody was saying to me about Jackson Dart. Tell me, oh, it was better than Jackson Dart. I'm like, no, no. You know what they did? They took all of the rookies and added up their touchdowns and ranked them by the most touchdowns to the least, and they had Shedeur at the bottom. I said, you know how misleading this? Shedeur has played 3.5 games, right? So I called it out because that's the type of thing they're doing. They're misrepresenting the stats. They're misleading people. They're making you think they all played the same number of games, and Shedeur is just at the bottom. That's how desperate some people are that have nothing to do with the organization, that call themselves fans, that call themselves analysts, want to misrepresent Shedeur the same way the New York Giants did in the draft. So y'all gonna need to protect your peace out here on these internet streets. Because some people, they looking for somebody to argue with. Don't be arguing with these people. You know what they are. So just let them be that and keep it pushing. Matter of fact, don't even give them your time because Shedeur's proven what he is. Like I said earlier, anybody that says, "Oh, Shedeur Sanders has to play 3 more games in this tough schedule before we can say what he's made of," I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, Shedeur Sanders is already proven. I'm like, how you gonna want to compare a rookie against either Caleb Williams or Aaron Rodgers or Joe Burrow? Come on, like for real, you're not even trying. You're not even trying to level the playing field. You just want Shedeur to go out here against some of the toughest teams who are going to playoffs, with the exception of the Bengals, I do believe, and lose, so you can say he's not good. When it's not even apples to oranges, it's up here and down here. Shedeur's a rookie. Yes, he's good, but he still has to come along. They barely letting him take the handcuffs off. And when they do, it's slow. So I would say avoid those types of conversations at all costs because they only just gonna serve to upset you. So all right, let's see what I had next on here. Okay. Oh, I like this. Let's talk about this. So Daryl Reuter, he's with the 92 station, but I don't really listen to him on there. He got his own channel, so I kind of listen to him on his own channel. They were talking about the 2-point play. There's been a lot of talk about why Kevin Stefanski set this up this way. I'm about it, my theory, or the reality of what's really going on. So Clifton says, absolutely stunning. Some in the Browns media think it's dumb to go for two when you're down 8 points after the first touchdown. So they already scored. You get on the board with 6, and they think it's stupid to go for 2 rather than just kick the PAT. You follow me? Instead, let me ask this. If the Browns kick the PAT after the 6 points and then went for 2 when they got the second touchdown. So touchdown, extra point, touchdown, 2 points. Instead, if the Browns kicked the PAT after the first touchdown, then went for the 2 points and the win on the second touchdown, would you have been okay with it? If yes, then you shouldn't be mad at going for 2 points at the end of the game. All right, listen to this. Daryl Reuter said, take your PAT with the first touchdown. See, they act like you don't have a strategy to win in football. That's the context that they're leaving. Just like I said about Ocho, they're honing in on the play. It's not a bad play. It is in this context. When your quarterback is hot and gets you 393 yards and score you a touchdown, you don't take him out the damn game. And Cam Newton said it. The Browns are the only team that does this. Nobody else does this. Nobody else does this. So you're doing it to be cruel. You're doing it, as I say, to lose, to increase the difficulty of scoring. I don't remember this many Wildcats with Dylan at all. I mean, I ain't watched, but I don't remember nobody fussing about it either. So, like somebody said, you run a Wildcat if you don't trust your quarterback. The way they keep running the Wildcat, even when it fails over and over and over, tells you it's not that they think Shedeur is not a strong quarterback. It's because they don't want him to be an effective, successful quarterback. You get a quarterback that run you 393 yards and you take him out the game. Why would you do something like that? To be cruel or both? To increase the level of difficulty to score. So Reuter says, absolutely, I'm not him. It said take your PAT with the first touchdown. So 6 + 1. And then trail by 7 on the second one. It said, then if you score another touchdown, decide whether or not to kick a PAT or go for 2. You know you can go for 2 points with the quarterback. You don't have to take the quarterback out to go for 2-point plays. And I want you to know Kevin Stefanski is manipulating the conversation when he says, well, it was a 2-point play and I made that decision. It's on me. You know what the media in Cleveland is saying? It's not good enough for you to keep saying it's on me because you're not trying to do better. You're just trying to get past the situation. You just offering up any old excuse. That's like people, every time they do something wrong, intentionally or unintentionally, they say my bad and they're not trying to improve or get better. They're just comfortable saying my bad after making the same mistake repeatedly or after cheating repeatedly. I say he was cheating his own team. And I think a lot of people are stuck and trying to take the play out of the context to justify that it was a good play. Maybe it is, but you can get 2 points with your quarterback. Stefanski's goal, it was to make sure Shedeur doesn't run in a touchdown and get it himself. That's why. He didn't want Shedeur to get the touchdown. Now, understand this. They already had a PAT that failed, 2 points, Wildcat that failed. Why would you try that again in such a critical moment? Shedeur did all of that work to bring you back up to speed after the last one failed. And you just keep taking him out the game. And you don't even run a regular 2-point conversion. It has to be a Wildcat. Nobody runs a Wildcat every time you go for 2. That's intentional sabotage. It says, not a hard concept. Going for two on the first touchdown and failing takes the second decision out of your hands, and you absolutely must go for two. So Kevin Stefanski knew every time we score, I'm gonna go for two. If we miss, the chances are we're gonna end up trailing possibly, right? If we keep missing, and I know the way I stack the O line, I don't expect us just to be balling out, missing all these extra points. The game was supposed to be close by Vegas anyway, 3.5 points. So I like what Reuter says here at the end because it proves my point. It says going for two on the first touchdown and failing takes the second decision. When you score in, you have no choice but to go for two. If I failed the first time with the Wildcat and I call an increasingly more difficult Wildcat the second time, I am thereby upping the odds that we will not get two. This is what he did to lose. Understand that. This is what he did to lose. People don't want to admit that Kevin Stefanski fixed the game so that the Browns never had to talk about the playoffs going forward. And I know people are like, well, who said they were going to win anyway? Okay, so you should have talked about it then. For your own fans' enjoyment, you should have celebrated the fact that Shedeur got you in the hunt and that you discussed the scenario before the 49ers game, but instead lied and said the season was over, which meant you intentionally didn't inform your fan base, hey, we're in the hunt for the playoffs first time in 2 years. We maybe could get back there. If not, we can enjoy the experience. This was intentional. And you know it was intentional because Stefanski's first move after the 49ers game was to bench Wyatt Teller to weaken the O-line. Who needs the O-line for protection? Shedeur. Who does he take out for the Wildcats? Shedeur. This ain't about Quinshon Judkins. Because you see, he put the ball in Quinshon Judkins' hands. He keeps taking it out of Shedeur's hands. He'll give it to Harold Fanning Jr. He'll give it to Quinshon Judkins, but he keeps taking it from Shedeur. He keeps weakening the O-line. And if he wanted the pass protection to be up to par for the team, he would have put in Cornelius Lucas. And when he did his press conference, he never mentioned pass protection. Post game press conference, we could have did better on run protection. Why you didn't talk about the pass protection? But when he talked about Shedeur, yeah, there's a lot of things he want to improve. Kevin Stefanski cannot celebrate Shedeur for shit. This man is toxic. He's manipulative. He's a monster. And he's made himself public enemy number one. So I don't know what Haslam was doing by letting Stefanski go down his normal course of action, kind of like Coach Prime let Pat Schumer go down his normal course of action, and Coach Prime got rid of Pat Schumer and got this other guy. Maybe it's the same thing. So before too much damage was done, we flipped the switch. We identified we absolutely have to get rid of this guy. He's not going to do right. He's going to go down the same path every single time. And you never know. Maybe Coach Prime talked to Haslam. I want to talk to you about what I see happening at Colorado in Cleveland. And I want to talk to you about what Schumer said about Shedeur and how Stefanski is mistreating Shedeur and his relationship with Schumer. Maybe. And maybe they started this game and Coach Prime was like, just let the game go and see if it's going to look like this. Maybe the playbook and said, see, it's the same. And maybe he made a correlation to maybe Stefanski is retaliating against Shedeur on behalf of Schumer, his old boss. I don't know. But I know when they said there were people over there stabbing folks in the back, I know who they were talking about. And now there's somebody in Cleveland stabbing Shedeur in the back, and they taking the whole season with them. And honestly, it's a fireable offense for knowing Shedeur was absolutely better than Dylan because you were going to get him at number 2. And when you got your franchise QB at 144, you act like he wasn't franchised just because of some numbers. Who does that? somebody that's trying to manipulate the outcome and they don't care about the logic. They don't care about the facts. I just want Dylan. I didn't want you. So since we got you late, we don't give a damn about you. Now I'm gonna tell you where my problem comes in watching the clip with the interaction. I don't know what was said before. It seems like Haslam was expecting to see Coach Prime, or if they ran into each other, they still have some type of rapport, or Haslam fake as hell, and he not gonna let nothing get in between the rapport. This is the second owner we've seen be nice, and this really should have been the first one because Shedeur works there. So I don't know what the hell is going on. But what I do know is after my podcast earlier today, going back and looking at the consensus between the national media, the Browns media want to forget about this stuff. He's QB1 now. Let's just move forward. Podcasters fire Stefanski. National media fires Stefanski. Browns people, well, let's just move forward. Haslam interaction with Coach Prime. Stefanski is on an island. He's on an island. And I might not need Stefanski to sabotage the last 4 games because the schedule is tougher. The Steelers, the Bills, both in playoff contention. The Bengals, and then the Bears. So 3 of the 4 teams Shedeur get ready to play against in the dead of winter are playoff bound teams. So I might not need you to rig it. I might say just go out there and let it play and let the chips fall where they may. We already out the playoffs, so we still have our losing year. Stefanski was told that winning is the goal. So why didn't you win this game to at least win 3 games? 4 maybe. Do better than last year. So if winning is the goal, and that's why you're going with Shedeur, why do you keep sabotaging the game so y'all can lose? That's facts, right? Hold on one second, guys. Okay, so that's where we are on that. If y'all need this, this is saved on my X page, and y'all can basically take a look at this so you can understand my logic. The last sentence or the last phrase, it said, not a hard concept. In other words, what is being suggested, take your PhD the first time, train by 7 when you come back, yada, yada, yada. But Stefanski put them in a position to be dependent, to absolutely have to do a 2-pointer after it failed the first time. So the strategy was to lose. And all you have to do, and I said this to Ruger, is look at his personnel lineup for the O-line, benching Wyatt Teller and bypassing Cornelius Lucas. You put those 2 together, and I am sure that we're going to lose this game. And let's not get on started on the defense. The defense played its part too. The number 2 defense decided to let the Titans run all over them. They can stop the run. So it wasn't just Stefanski that wanted to lose that game. That's my point. Stefanski's just that executed the strategy. Understand that. All right, so this was the stat right here, so you can see for yourself. Browns QB with at least 700 passing yards and 5 passing touchdowns in their first 3 career starts. Shedeur Sanders is the only person on this list. Now, there are people saying Shedeur got 3 more games to make it so that Cleveland does not want to draft Mendoza. First of all, I saw Jimmy Haslam at Ohio State versus UT. I have never seen him at Indiana. And honestly, when Ohio State lost and they put the photo out with Deshaun saying we can't move him, and you see the corporate messaging goes towards Shedeur, and they flip the switch in the game, and Stefanski is now on an island as of 7 p.m. tonight, it's giving Shedeur Deshaun. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. And if Stefanski on the island, he likely not going to be the coach. So they might let him ride out to the end of the year, and they already know. And when I saw Haslam talking to Coach Prime, I was like, Haslam already knew what he was going to do. So when they took that switch, I believe it was him. Let's take a listen. This is the report trying to put Stefanski down about the point.
He fought, throughout the game, which we knew he would. Obviously, with any young player, Mary Kay, there's going to be ups and downs, and I thought there were some really, really, really good moments. He'll keep learning from some of the plays that he wants back, but some really good moments.
What was supposed to happen on that last 2-point conversion?
Yeah, not going to get into all the specifics, Jeff, but obviously did not go as we thought it would.
Why would you take him off?
Yeah, it's a 2-point play. Didn't come through on our first 2-point play. Got to the second 2-point play, we didn't come through, but that's on me. He fought, throughout the
All
game,
right.
which we
So
knew he would.
basically,
Obviously, with any
you heard
player,
them
there's
try
gonna
to
be
pin him
ups and downs,
down.
and I thought there were some
He
really, really,
refuses
really good
to
moments.
basically
He'll
answer
keep
the
learning
question.
from
He wants to brush it off by saying what? It's on me. He's just willing to be accountable. This is the only time he's willing to be accountable. When he knows he fixed that game to lose, he can't justify the 2 Wildcats. The first reporter asked him about the play. The second reporter tried to pin him down and asked him, why did you take Shedeur off the field? And he refused to answer the question. It's on me, brushed it off, and kept it pushing. So now, understand, I got the national media applying pressure, saying he should have been fired already. He needs to be fired. I have the middle Browns media trying to move past what happened with this fool right here. I have Haslam out here talking to Coach Prime, putting some sort of switch so Shedeur the ball out and let Stefanski start to prove he gonna play every game the way he started the game. And somebody came in, intervened, and switched it up. But they let him go back to that Wildcat at the end because overall the goal was to lose. Understand the hierarchy and how I told you Stefanski reports directly to Haslam, independent of Andrew Berry. And I didn't see Andrew Berry at this game, and I know the game was in Cleveland, and I didn't hear nothing about him talking to Coach Prime, and that's surprising because I told y'all Coach Prime was very involved in the pre-draft process and met with everybody. And the way Haslam treated Coach Prime today, I mean, in the video, I mean, it looked like he either super fake and he don't show nothing on his face and he ain't got no problem with Coach Prime. So it's just a weird situation, guys. All right. So it says Shedeur Sanders put on a show today. He proved a few things. He is in no way a 5th round talent. He belongs in the NFL, number 2. Number 3, he is light years better than the guy who inexplicably, which means you cannot explain why Dylan Gabriel started 6 games before Sanders saw the field. Let me tell you why he played 6 games before Shedeur. How many games are there in the season? Is it 17? So if Dylan starts 6 games, Flacco played 4 or 5, Shedeur wouldn't get a chance to play the majority of the games. QB1 for the season is who plays the majority of the games. I watched Kevin Stefanski do this in 2023. Split up the duties amongst multiple quarterbacks. Shedeur can't technically be the starter. But now on the NFL page, they rank the quarterbacks this week. Shedeur is number 30. Cam is number 31. JJ McCarthy is number 32. Remember when AI said Shedeur was going to Minnesota and he was going to be an MVP? That is a big possibility. Why? Because JJ McCarthy didn't work out. Is AI psychic? No. The stats. So maybe Minnesota miscalculated, but they don't need a quarterback. They don't need a quarterback. You're gonna be hearing conversations about them moving on from JJ McCarthy. They gonna need a quarterback, and Shedeur gonna need somewhere to go. The Manning kid is still coming out in 2027, and that is still their plan. So Shedeur fits in Cleveland for another year with Deshaun. Why? Because this is Deshaun's last year on the contract in 2026. So he'll be by Deshaun, Shedeur 1 year. JJ McCarthy, I'm willing to bet, gonna get 1 more year. And then Shedeur can trade places with JJ McCarthy. AI can be spot on. Yep. And then Shedeur's gone. Shedeur's gone. Deshaun's gone. This is the end of 2026. the end of next year. So I can draft in the first round with my picks. I'm gonna get a pick from somebody. I'm gonna somehow get the Manning kid. The Manning kid gonna fall directly to me. Everybody that is pre-drafted knows that we're gonna get him, just like they knew about Shedeur. Except for we're not gonna drop him like a bad habit. We're gonna free Shedeur and send him on his way to be QB1 in Minnesota. Understand this. There is no way after last night's game. And understand these people knew who Shedeur was, but I think he was better than they anticipated. There's no way they can ship him out to any team at the end of tomorrow. That's anything other than QB1. Now these last 4 games could be used because they whether it's bad. And these people are more experienced, but Shedeur is listed as the number 2 quarterback overall for passing behind Dak Prescott. But he, in 3 games, has placed himself above Cam and JJ McCarthy. Had he started at the beginning with game 1, 2, 3, or played those 6 games with the 4 he's getting ready to play and the other one 5, that's 11 games. Out of 17, Shedeur will be on QB1 and they would be in the playoffs. I don't think they wanted to go. I don't think Dillon ever had a concussion. The plan was always to pivot to Shedeur because why? He's going to have an opportunity to prove himself. What did they do? Pivot early. Why? Seemingly pressure. The booing, the boycotting. And if they did all of that, Haslam was getting some messages from the people that have money over there. Understand that. So he seemed happy to see Coach Prime, Ed Greenberger, whoever he is, on about Shedeur. The number 1, he is in no way a 5th round talent. Somebody is going to have to answer for this. Somebody at some point either need to cut Shedeur a check, apologize, or find him some equity in one of these teams because y'all gonna have to pay this young man his money because he is not a 5th round talent. There is no justification for taking him off the board. That's not how it works. You don't get to do that. And it's never been done before. It's unprecedented. So it looks discriminatory. You got to fix it. Then number 2, he belongs in the NFL. You can in no way, shape, or form put him on anybody's waiver wire at all. So you should have never taken him off the board. They lied about Shedeur. They did him dirty. They lied on him. They humiliated him. They weren't trying to redshirt him in Cleveland. They weren't trying to teach him a lesson in the draft. They were actively and openly discriminating against Shedeur Sanders. Somebody gonna have to fix it. And then number 3, this is why Kevin Stefanski should have already been fired after last night's game. Shedeur is light years better than the guy who, beyond our understanding, started 6 games before Sanders was even allowed to see the field. Kevin Stefanski could have did for Shedeur what he did for Dillon. When Flacco played, do y'all remember Dillon coming in toward the end, trying to get him comfortable? He didn't try to get Shedeur comfortable. He didn't weave him in. And when Shedeur got the start, he didn't get him warmed up with the plays. The O-line failed him because of the personnel decisions. And the stupid play calling was predictable. And these Wildcats were intentional sabotage, meant to disrespect and lose games. Because Stefanski is still tethered to Dillon and doesn't want Shedeur to be better than 1 in 5 games. And he's banking on Shedeur losing every last game and ending the season 1 in 5 like Dillon, even though we all know Shedeur is light years better than Dillon. And Dillon should have never had 6 games to lose by himself. He won 1. Common sense said Shedeur should have 6 if Dillon had 6, right? So all of that foolishness talking about Shedeur only gets 4? Whose idea was that? Why would you cheat Shedeur? Because they've been cheating him the entire way, and they thought it was fine because who was he cheated by in the draft? The 32 owners. So who gonna check me, boo, if they made that decision? So here we go. Coach Prime and Haslam catch up before the game. I watched it with audio off, with the on study because looking at the lane, look at the timing, look at control, safety has it. And that's so let's just take a listen.
What's going on? Honored to see you. How we doing? How you feel? We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you? You need anything? All right, let's have 12 play well. You doing right? Good to see you, man. Hey, guys. What's going on?
So if it wasn't cut, hold on one second. If it wasn't cut, it wasn't a long interaction. It seemed like they have a rapport. It's a 23-second clip, so not even 30 seconds. It looked like Haslam knew. I saw the video on Well Off Media, the longer, wider shot. I could see that Coach Prime had got out of his vehicle. Haslam pulled up in his. It looked like Haslam knew he was going to run into Coach Prime. I said it. Coach Prime could have avoided him, but I don't think it was an accident that they met up. Haslam was hospitable. Seemed like the draft never happened. That he likes Shedeur. He closed by saying, let's say 12 has a good day today. And we know a switch was flipped, not just on offense, but on defense as well. Let's listen to this again and look at everything else that's happening. So you got all of these people around. Look at all of these big, imposing bodyguard type people for Coach Prime, right? So Haslam, he don't seem deterred by that. His wife, I think, is over there. Look like some of his other family members. They all talking to Coach Prime. They seem like good friends. They seem like, wow, we hadn't seen you in a while. We should catch up. How is the kids? Like they really used to work together or something. And, nothing has happened. And we ain't talking about the draft. We talking about all of the stuff that the 92 radio station wants to bury since August. I say let's go back to June. You don't see any type of, damn, I messed up. I shouldn't have did that. Guilt or uncomfortableness from Haslam at all. And I find that a little strange. All right. Considering how the game started, let Stefanski be done, but pulling his chain, I find it interesting.
What's going on? Honored to see you.
Look at the hand on the waist, like I know you. We're good friends. Look at Haslam directly in his face contact. Coach Prime, nicety toward, look like Haslam's wife, he Haslam. Look like they old friends, right? People said they was friends, but I sure couldn't tell. And he touched him on the shoulder, but we see Stefanski do that. We know about that familiarity. But it was the grabbing of the waist area. Then it was the arm, like we're old pals. Like, I'm happy to see you. You look good. How you doing?
How we doing?
So look at who's talking and who's listening. See, it's cut, so I don't know. It could have been, see, this is what I mean. You got to watch social media because they could have cut something out. What we're looking at is 23 seconds. I don't know if it was cut. I really don't. I can't tell.
How you feel?
So Coach Prime must have said hello, how you doing, or something, and then Haslam asked questions. So okay.
How you feel?
How you feeling? I want to get before how you feeling. All right.
How you feel?
It's so quick. All right. Coach Prime is saying hi.
How you feel?
How you feeling? Doing fine. They happy.
We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you? You need anything?
Need anything?
Let's have 12 play well. You doing right? Good to see you, man.
12 play good today. Now wait a minute. Whoa. Let me go back.
12 play well. You doing right? Good to see you. Let's have 12 play well. You doing right? Good to see you, man. Hey, guys.
Foul drops.
What's going on?
Up to the bodyguard. Okay. So knowing the way this game started, right? Knowing the way the game started, knowing this took place before the game, and then the game started like it always does, sabotaging Shedeur. Stefanski made these weird personnel decisions that sabotaged the O-line. Facts. Stefanski was allowed to do himself. Did he not know Haslam was not going to? Is he acting independently? And then it looks bad because people are calling it out that the plays are predictable. And then there's a switch that's flipped. And Miles can go get it. Shedeur can go after it. And they come back and they almost, but Stefanski had no fear. We're calling that dumb 2-point wildcat at the end after it already failed and they lose the game. But he wasn't fired this morning. But he should have been. Because after last night's game, you lost 6 games with Dillon when you could have been winning with Shedeur. And Shedeur got us in playoff position. And you eliminated us from contention. And the media didn't talk about it. So you know what that tells me? Haslam was in on the loss. He didn't want to go to the playoffs. Stefanski is still there to exact the plan for the losing year. This is a rebuilding year. I've been rebuilding since 2020. In September, Haslam said on record to ESPN or via ESPN, we'll be rebuilding for 2 to 3 years. What's happening is different now. Shedeur balling out, the kid coming out, so I don't have to worry about his legacy. 12 million people climbing all over us. It don't make sense to praise Shedeur because we only paid him $900,000. We already said we're not moving the shop. I'm gonna need a quarterback next year because the fans already boycotted. So I can't plan to lose next year. So it makes sense to keep Shedeur, but he not long term because the Manning kid's still coming. That's where Minnesota comes in. All right, so I want to see what y'all are saying about the video, what you thought of the interaction on Coach Prime's page. They thought he was just playing the game. Were they both playing the game? What do you think about the game allowed to be sabotaged and lose, taking Shedeur out at the Wildcat after Jimmy has this conversation with Coach Prime, the familiar grabbing around, touching the arm. Then he went on to introduce himself to bodyguards. Jimmy, you need anything? Let me hear your thoughts. I gave you your thoughts. All right, here we go. How many of us are here? Like button for me. 200 and I can't ever see what that is. 225, something like that. I don't know why would I try to see it and won't let me see whatever the hell I want. Thank y'all for being here. 262. Thank you. That's what it said. All right, so let's go. Let's see who's in here. I can't put the music on because I still hear it saying. So, all right. Shout out to Super Stickers from the last podcast. I didn't see it until we logged out from the last episode. Lisa, I think I saw you. And Ben Scott, I think I saw you as well. This time we have Philosophical says, fire Stefanski and hire Brian Flores. I like that. I think that's what needs to happen. Because it's a whole lot of fixing and making amends that needs to be. Between Shedeur, Brian Flores, the class action lawsuit, it's a lot that needs to happen. It said, hey, I'm watching well off in their QB select coach. The QB select coach's father is the coach at PB. Tremaine Jackson is select QB father. Darryl Colbert Jr. That's not possible. Oh no, you talking about the quarterback. You talking about the quarterback at their QB select coach is the coach at PB. I didn't know Tremaine Jackson was QB select coach. What I did know is that Darryl Jr. is the quarterback coach for Cam Peters, the quarterback for review. But okay, that's some information you never know. Thank you for sharing. He said, how you doing? Hey, on the money, somebody else's podcast, he mentioned that Prime Time threw a bucket of water on a reporter years ago. The reporter said he's the grandfather of Stefanski That's why he's 12. Interesting. Now, remember what I said about the father, Stefanski's father. So there could be some truth there. Could be some truth there, but it does not in no way justify abusing Shedeur because of something that happened with Coach Prime and a reporter. And maybe Coach Prime knew that. So at draft day, he said, what? Take it out on me. And then remember what Shiloh said, if you weren't you, blah, 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 blah. So maybe. But that's no justification for what they're doing to Lamar. That's no justification for what they're doing to Shedeur. That's interesting. I have to look into that. Thank you. Let's go. It said, let's put the truth on the table. It's time. Right. That's what I say. People just want to gloss over it in Cleveland and say, let's bury this stuff. The fact that you called it stuff after this young man was abused all summer by his coach who should have already been fired, who probably should be wearing an orange jumpsuit and making license plates. The fact that you referred to what he had to endure, that he already said out loud, was extremely difficult. Stuff is highly disrespectful, and you want to CYA, not be held accountable or experience consequences. Hell no. No, we're not doing that. We're not letting y'all abuse him in silence, and we're not going to be quiet while you try to move past this moment without accountability. No, you're going to deal with this. It said, woman, let me hear you roar. It said, you got this. Thank you so much. Thank you. It says, look at God do his work. 5th round, 4 QB, 2 QBs, first QB, Cleveland lost, and Shedeur still front and center. And that is so fast, DW. Shedeur won. I even said it. Why I feel like Shedeur won? Shedeur won. The Browns chose to lose. They didn't have to lose. They made a conscious decision to lose. Dylan played 6 games so they could lose. The Browns knew when they flipped that switch that Shedeur was going to ball out. Why? Because the little bit they let him do each game, he was balling out with the little bit he got. So if you give him a wide ledge, then he going to ball out. That's common sense. And remember, he was going to be their franchise QB, number 2 overall, until they pivoted to Dylan. There will never be a justification for that. You wanted to lose with Dylan, just like you wanted to lose at the end of that game. It say just do it 12 facts. So everybody calling him 12. Haslam, other people calling him 12. It said Cam and 12 swap jerseys, ready for the offseason. Facts. So he will be around. We don't know if it's with the Browns or Minnesota. You never know. Hello, everyone. It said hit the like button on your way in. Thank you. It said let's stop this rumor before we get started. Watson did not develop coach or mentor Shedeur. 12 had to get it out the mud. That's facts. And I haven't heard that, but yeah. No, Shedeur did it all himself. Haslam, Stefanski ignored him. Nobody corrected Stefanski. We're not going to move past this. Deshaun is a cool dude. And yeah, he did probably show Shedeur some things. But Shedeur is exactly who he was at Jackson State in Colorado. In fact, I heard Alex Smith, the defender, he was kind of annoyed with the questions he was being asked about Shedeur in a 1-minute interview. He said Shedeur's been who he always been. Happy-go-lucky, always, always in the mood. He a dog, he worked hard. He said Shedeur had been himself the whole time. And I thought he finished by saying, we want him to continue to be himself. So it's like now it's coming out that the players were frustrated that Stefanski was trying to box Shedeur in and strip away his character, strip away his personality, strip away his blackness because Stefanski doesn't think Shedeur is worthy. And it proves at the beginning of that Titans game, he was going to go right down the same path. You lost anyway, but you didn't have to cheat Shedeur to lose. You cheated the Browns fans. You cheated those players that work hard to win. So understand that. Stefanski, the things he did were highly unnecessary. because Shedeur fell to your team. It was a blessing, but you wanted to treat him like somebody you could abuse and nobody would say anything. Somebody you could abuse in the dark and nobody would say anything. And you knew he had a following because y'all talked about it on day 3 of the post-draft press conference. You talked about what comes with a Hall of Fame father. So you knew people would be watching. You knew Coach Prime would be watching. You ain't even give a damn about that. You ain't care about millions of people. You didn't care about Coach Prime. And you were allowed to not care. So I find the interaction we're looking at today very interesting. So I'm not going to tell you Shedeur going to be there next year. I'm going to tell you the corporate messages says he is. But it's a lot of posturing going on. So like I said earlier, we're either pivoting or we're posturing. It said, good evening. I'm cleaning the list. Okay. It says, somebody please tell me what happened to number 37, rookie Luke. He got injured in summer training camp. He tore a deep hamstring tear. So I think they said if he got better, he'd have a chance to make the practice squad. And I think he might be over there. He's somewhere. But look him up. Just look him up. Luke Florian. It said, hey there, everybody. How you doing? Luke is on the practice squad. Okay, there we go. Luke is on the practice squad. What's up, Jeff? What's up with Jeff? I thought he got signed to the practice squad. So he did. Let's talk about somebody. Let me tell y'all what's being said. Okay. Now, I don't know how true this is. And I know Shedeur realized he had to go to somebody else in the corner. But there are people that's been breaking down, steal shots of Gage trying to catch that ball. Now, I said he miscalculated. I don't know if he was nervous. I have no idea. But there are people that believe that the way he went at trying to get the ball before the ball was close to him, because the ball was up here and he over here, and the other guy, all he had to do was jump up and get it. People, of course, are saying Travis Hunter could have got it. Justin Jefferson could have got it. Jamar Chase could have got it. All people are doing are naming receivers that could have got it. Some people say any wide receiver that's a good wide receiver would have gotten it. So I don't know. Some people think he's being paid under the table. I don't know if Gage is a victim of the selfish mentality that Jerry Jeudy exhibited last week, that KT Levinson is purposely trying to make it. I don't know if he's a victim of that or if he's just inexperienced, like I said. He is short. He's small. He can easily get bullied because of his size. He's short, so my vertical is only going to be so much. So if I miscalculate and jump up and jump back and the ball ain't nowhere near me, I ain't going to stay in the air for long. So he was on the way back down, and the receiver was like, the defender was like, thank you. Because it's like, I think when you're a receiver, you have to know how to gauge the ball. So I don't know. It's up for Shedeur to find out. But I'm going to say this. Damn. If he had turned coat too. I hope not, bro. Shedeur took that man home and everything. It said Luke is on the practice squad. Okay, so he is. It said dude was really good. Remember he caught that one-handed catch. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, they put him on the practice squad. It said that was a very awkward meetup with the Haslam. Sounded like Coach Prime asked, what's going on? Oh, okay. I couldn't hear much of anything. Haslam just asked him how he was doing. It said, we hear you. Thank you so much, because I got an echo going on. It says so many people switch sides now praising the 5th round draft pick. Right. And that one that says he is in no way a 5th round talent. We were saying that at the beginning. He's not a 5th round QB talent. They didn't want to hear it. It just proves, it wants to show you that if they want to destroy you, they don't care what nobody says. And that brings me to this right here. I'm going to say it, and you need to consider it. I already said Stefanski has clan behavior. Understand? I want you to know these people stick together. Okay? So here's what you got to keep in mind about if we pivot or if we posture. I'm gonna tell you this story. All right, this not real. This is just a story. So I want you to listen to how this works. So I have three black men in a small country town. Everybody know everybody. The biggest place to work is a plant. I have a father and I have two sons who he's sending off to college, and he's been working hard to send them to college. So the father is just a regular employee, 9 to 5. He's not a supervisor or anything. He just worked there. But he's good with saving money. So what does he do? He opens a store some years ago, and his sons worked at that store. They learned the family business. So now that his sons are old enough to go off to college, he's ready to go ahead and invest in expanding his store to take it from this size to this size. Now everybody in the town know, in the black part of town, he got this little store. They don't think much of it because they don't go over there. It's not a threat to them. But when he starts to expand it, the foreman at the job, at the plant, makes it seem like, man, you're doing real good. Hey, why don't you come have dinner and bring your boy and they could meet my kids? Now the man been working there for 20 years. Why they didn't ask him before? Because that's how I think. But the point is, his family goes to meet their family at their home. And then their kids are about the same age, so they have a lot in common. The boys go outside and toss a frisbee around, and everybody seems cool. And then they have dinner with them probably once a month. The white people never come to the black people house, but the black people go to the white people house, right? Different part of town. The white people don't care how people feel about it in their neighborhood. That's just how it goes, right? They're friends. So the black man and his sons, they're nearing the high school graduation. So they're getting ready for everything they need to go off to college. So the white family invites them over again for like a going away to celebrate the boys. And of course, they fast friends now, right? We all good, we comfortable, we trust each other. So all the black family load up to go over to the white family house one more time before the boys leave school. And on the way there, it's a dark, long road, right? There's a man on the side of the road, and he needs help, apparently. That's what it appears. He needs help. So, of course, the father gets out, tell the boys to stay in the car along with his wife, and he goes over to the man, and the man is like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my car. So the white man is like, can you give me a ride? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm going that way. And he points in the direction where the black family is going. And he said, okay, we going that way. We'll go ahead on and give you a ride. So he said, thank you. He get in the car with the black family and they all go that way. And the guy, before they get to the street that they turn on to go to the white people house, the guy, oh, you can stop right stop right here and you can turn in there. And they like, yeah, this is a lot of property that you have. And he said, we got about 100 acres. And he said, well, where's the house? We can drive you up to the house. And the white man, oh, okay, it's just further to the back. So as they get further to the back, they see some more cars. Then it starts to brighten up a bit because fields and pastures don't have lights. So it's just the headlights of the car. As they drive up, they see more and more people, and it gets brighter. But they're not into focus view. They're pulling into an area where some people wearing all red robes have gathered. And they're like, oh wow, is this your family? And the white guy's like, no, this not my family. They just out here, whatever. He said, okay, well, why don't you just come meet them? He said, they might want to meet you. Maybe they can help you out with your store. And then he's like, okay. So he gets out the car and they take the dad and they apprehend him. And then there's a ring of fire burning with a lot of people standing around, right? And they all facing backwards and turn forwards. They hoist the father up on a burning car. The black family is going on. So then the wife stay in the car. Mama, you stay here. One of the sons, the oldest, gets out. He walks away. You can see him fade into the distance in front of the headlights. They take him, hoist him up on the cross. There's only one cross left, which meant they knew. So then the son Let me go see Mom. You stay here. They go, they get the youngest son. He walks up there, they get him. So all three of them are on the cross. Out comes the foreman for the job, right? And another man. So they begin to try to terminate the lives one by one, starting with the father. Then they got the oldest son. So they succeeded with the father. He didn't pass, but he was weak. Then they moved on to the oldest son, and they were able to extinguish him. And the father began to plead, take me, let my boys go. The wife is still back at the car. Some men go and they get her, and you never see her again. So they just cut out the way, basically. Then you got the last son. The last son, they trying, but it's taking a while. It's not easy. Things not going as expected. And then they have this overzealous one who doing too much. And instead of sticking to the plan, they decide to take too much enjoyment and start torturing the youngest son to try to end his life faster, right? But then the foreman is like, no, you're doing too much. You're going to get us caught. People going to hear us, and they're going to find out who we are. So they tell the overzealous one, go over there. So they move him out the picture because he's doing too much. He going to get them roped up. So the foreman ends the youngest son's life. Now, what's the moral of this story? Think about it for a second. You know who I'm talking about. You know the role each person is playing. You know I'm talking about Coach Brown, Shiloh, and Shedeur. You know who the overzealous member all dressed in red is Stefanski. And who ended up taking the youngest son's life? The foreman that the father had worked with and knew really well for years. You see, they were lured there. They knew they were coming. They were a threat. So they decided to take all of them out. The moral of the story is when it comes to people like this, they're going to still exact their goal. And when somebody gets overzealous and brings too much attention, we got to move you out the way. But we will proceed with the original goal of taking you out. Understand that. No amount of humanity, no amount of tears, no one can save you because we put you on an island and nobody knows where you are. And they can't blame us because they don't know who we are. Understand that? So I'm listening to people talk, and Shedeur should be QB1, and we now the shine. And Stefanski is being overzealous, and like I said in the beginning, he gonna get all of it. So we gotta switch up how we gonna still get to our goal, but we will be deterred. 17-32 will not change. Understand that? Do y'all see what I'm saying? If the owner got to do it himself, it's gonna be done. And what do I mean by that? Shedeur stays. People think it's exciting. It moves on. Maybe he gets injured, like Tyrod Taylor. Maybe he gets injured, like Deshaun. His salary ain't that much, right? His salary ain't that much. So if that don't work, the injury to make you unavailable, and I don't want to trade you because the goal is to draft to destroy 17-32, I got to do something. So maybe I bitch you, create a scenario where you're starting off just like Franco, but then Deshaun takes over and starts playing in a few games with you, then he becomes a starter. And I got you tucked away. And when the season ends, I just start him. You didn't really play but 3 or 4 games. So I'm going to trade you at less than QB1. The goal is still the same. Playing keep away with QB1, not letting you be successful, letting you let it rip, but you still not going to win. The goal is the same. I hope y'all understand it. I hope you understand that. So that's what it is, guys. It said, no echo on my end. Good, good, good. It said, help her, Lord Jesus, thank you. It said, might have a Bluetooth on somewhere. I think it's something. You know what it could be? Because my phone is attached to my computer. But yeah, somewhere there's an echo. Thank you, Amber. So I appreciate that. So I hope y'all understand what I'm saying, right? Thank you, Vince Scott. Thank you for the super sticker from earlier. It say y'all. I've never seen this, but there's an Audemars Piguet commercial on my YouTube. If they don't get Shedeur on here, oh, Audemars watches, that would be nice. That would be nice. It said, some of them believe now, but some of us have been riding with the Sanders family. Facts. It said exactly. Some of us believe, but some of us have been riding with the Sanders family. Max said 364 yards, 4 touchdowns as a rookie. Jeez. It said he is truly legendary. He is. What W12? Yep. It was before the game. Okay, thank you for the context. That was before the game. Nikki Sofit said it was legendary, record setting. It said Jason Whitlock on here hated on Shedeur and Coach Prime for no reason, right? And we know that, right? We don't expect nothing less. And just like I just told you that story, you don't expect nothing different from Whitlock. His motivation is whatever the hell it is, and he never departs from it. That's my moral of that story. I might switch it up how I do it, but I'm not changing my agenda. It said he's fake and get Shedeur out there. There you go. There you go. It said hate like is always hating. It said yes before the game, but it doesn't appear Coach Prime was expecting to see him. So B. Thomas, you didn't think Coach Prime knew he was going to be there. They say people actually listen to Jason the Quitter. I don't even know who he is. I know his name, but did he play football or something? It said he's a weird coach. And it said, ain't he the same man? Said he had picked Shedeur to be on his team. Facts. Facts. So you see my point. You see my point. I didn't pick him. And the way he said it, and he was reckless with his words. And look at how he was today. And like Stefanski, keep touching on Shedeur. I'm like, is there a class that y'all take to make people feel comfortable? Because remember, they were lured in to the Super Bowl, and I'm sure they were just as friendly. But I felt like I picked up on Jerry Jones being short with Shedeur when Shedeur was talking to him. We're gonna have to do a lot of trading and pushed off. But when he saw Shedeur, when they went Dallas, he was a gritty like a Cheshire cat. All he saw was dollar signs. It said just professionalism. They still hate each other. I'm sure Prime ain't nobody's fool. I think it's grace. I think it's grace. It said that's what people do when they try to get a read on you, testing your temperature. Right. So remember what I said. Is it possible they sent the Raiders owner to feel Coach Prime out? Of course, I know Shedeur is going to be playing at some point, right? Again, Coach Prime going to show up. The Raiders owner feel them out. Now, Haslam is like, okay, all right. Because maybe he didn't know. I mean, he really didn't take care of his words. And look at how Shedeur has been treated. Jimmy treated Coach Prime like, oh, that ain't got nothing to do with me. He ain't act like that, but he treated him like old friend. Like I would never do anything like that. It puts Stefanski on an island by himself. That's what it does. Because we all know Shedeur being abused all summer long. And Haslam is like, hey, how you doing? Like nothing happened in the draft. He didn't, he's his draft pick. He was careless with his words. Like Stefanski hasn't been sabotaging Shedeur. He didn't act like any of that ever occurred. That ain't normal. Because if I saw somebody's parent after one of my employees was mistreating them, abusing them publicly, privately, and everything, I would be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I really hate what was happening. I just really wanted you to know. But one thing I noticed he not going to accept any liability, whether it's Stefanski's behavior or him allowing Stefanski's behavior. He's not letting on at all because I'm not going to apologize for Stefanski because I'm admitting I know something wrong happened. That's grounds for a lawsuit. The moment you admit liability and apologize, that's why when you fall in the store, they don't apologize. A lawyer's like, don't apologize because you're saying you're wrong. So he's not going to apologize. And that should tell you what kind of person he is. And then Stefanski goes right into the game and begins to set up Shedeur as if Haslam came late and said, wait, I don't like what I'm seeing. Let me fix it. That's what it looks like. But he was there early like Coach Prime. So I say Coach Prime was being godly in terms of forgiveness. And I'm going to let God fight this out. That's what I thought. It said, yeah, he said that. It said, it seemed weird. Haslam was smiling, but it seems CP was not having it. CP know what's up. I think he was gracious. Yeah, I think he was gracious. It said things changed after that weird video. Yeah, that was crazy. And that's another thing that could catch a fire to Haslam if he acts like, I'm sorry. Because Stefanski still ain't being fired. But they did bench Conklin because there was no way you could keep going forward. So like I say, the pressure from the community, from us, from the public, is what makes them course correct. Nothing else. Doing the right thing is not what makes them course correct. And like the overzealous character in the story, they didn't expel him. You just go stand over there. You causing problems. But they weren't deterred. The goal was still the goal. It said he was all up at CU, but then said he wasn't my pick. Right. That's facts. That's facts. They turn it on and turn it off. That's what it's getting. Remember what Bucky told us that story? That he was talking to that guy at the gas station in Canton, and then he looked at the guy's hat on the in the car and it, the 3Ks or whatever. And he said he was shocked because you would never know. One thing I know, they stick together. They know who each other are. They know. They know. And I think that I think Stefanski's playing. I don't care what nobody say. The way he acts like he was not worthy to be a quarterback. Nobody acts like that. Nobody else just acts like that. And he is overzealous. And he did take pleasure in abusing Shedeur. And he is hella fake. But see, we know he fake because of his conversation. He has to make a conscious decision to say Shedeur's name. He's already gone back to he and him. He's already gone back to he and him. He sees the reporters are trying to pin him down. He won't answer the question. He's still sabotaging. If he still come out and do the same thing in this game and they out the playoffs, bruh, exactly what I said. You just overzealous. You go stand over there. We still gonna get this done. It said Dylan will sit the bench like a good boy. Now here's the question. If Shedeur's QB1 next year, a kid coming before they move Shedeur over. And like I said, Quan is the QB2. Y'all think they're gonna keep Dylan? Or are they gonna trade Shedeur? Let me know. Because supposedly NFL executive said Dylan or Shedeur, one of them will be traded. I don't know why they felt the need to tell us that NFL said that because I don't know who the hell we're talking about here, but that's how it was framed. And they going on. So who you think one of them who gonna be traded out to beat Shedeur? Who the hell want Dylan? He better off over there. Hell, Billy's that probably better than Dylan. I can't imagine he worse than Dylan. It said people were talking about going back to see Deshaun Watson get hurt. Or going back to see how Deshaun Watson get hurt. Oh, well, he got sick 33 times. That's how he got hurt. And Stefanski took off his headset. The overzealous one. That's it. They say fire Stefanski and Tommy. It's funny how nobody have any future plans for him. So maybe he is going to UCLA or he moving on to another team. It said Dylan is a supercomputer. Remember, so forgive him and his female friend. You put it kindly. Okay. Tommy Reese just trying to get out of there, and I don't blame him. I kind of felt like that. I kind of felt like that at first. I kind of felt like he was entertaining the college job just to get the hell away from Cleveland. I really did feel like that. And remember, Tommy Reese said two things that made me feel like he was pro Shedeur until Stefanski kind of forced his hand. And I was like, what the hell do they be saying to these people? Right? Um, one of the things was Tommy Reese was shocked that Gage dropped that, didn't catch that pass. He was shocked. And then he was the one that said when he was supposed to be calling the plays that Shedeur will be throwing to the people he playing with the guys he came in with in the spring and the rookies, which as you can see, that kind of worked out better for Shedeur. Quishon Junkins, Harold Fannin Jr., you saw the problem with Jerry Judy. You saw the inconsistency from Cedric Tillman. The only eyeballs were Gage and hit or miss Isaiah Bonds. Gage and Isaiah Bonds keep doing the same thing. You jump in too early, jump in too late. Inexperience? I don't know. I don't know. But I thought Isaiah Bonds was supposed to be a top draft pick, but I could be wrong. Tommy Reese has to go by default. Remember, he said he would do whatever Stefanski said. Right. And he technically became that person. Facts. It said, I heard Stefanski is the grandson of that man. Prime dunked that water on. Somebody gonna have to look that up. Let's see if somebody can look that up. How Deshaun got hurt. He was sacked 33 times in 7 games. 33 times in 7 games. That'll do it. Fire Stefanski and hire Brian Flores. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, philosophical again. It said Tommy Reese didn't prove himself. He followed in the footsteps of Stefanski. It was like he didn't bring anything to the table. Okay. So he just did whatever Stefanski told him to do. It seemed like he was gonna go down his own path, and I thought he got derailed. It says Stefanski and McCarver are not related. Oh, okay. Somebody cleared up about the reporter. Okay, that's good. Okay. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing, Val? It says, exactly. I hope the Haslams were showing Dion his new stadium he about to own from the biggest NFL scandal. That's got to be out. That's going to outdo the NFL. Anybody follow me on Twitter and on here and look at the shorts early on in the season? I said, I think Shedeur Sanders is about to be a part of the case that could blow the NFL wide open. Here we are. When you hear the broader media calling for Stefanski to be fired, that's coming from the NFL. That's where that's coming. That's where that's coming from. And to me, they gave him enough rope himself to switch and went on ahead and play ball. They let him do that wildcat. If they didn't like that, if they were not happy about it, he wouldn't be employed. So that's how you know they're working together. It said, hey sis, there's some news about Tim McCarver. He had 2 daughters. He was a reporter. They said that's not him. They said one of Tim's daughters is Kevin Stefanski's mother. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay, so somebody did look into it, probably about 10 minutes ago, maybe, and said McCarver had 2 daughters, and he was the reporter that Dion poured water on. One of Tim's daughters is Kevin Stefanski's mother, Tom McCarver. How old was the reporter? He had 2 daughters. It depends on how old he was. Coach Prime was 20. If he had 2 daughters when Coach Prime was 20, you're saying it's Stefanski's mom. Stefanski's younger than Coach Prime. How old is Kevin Stefanski? Does anybody know? Let me know how old Stefanski is. The age might be lining up. Thank you for looking that up, Isaiah. It said, bring in new ideas, new energy, better imagination to support and build around Shedeur, protect his blind side. Facts. And you know what? People are saying if Stefanski's fired, what's the next change that needs to happen? New ownership. Cleveland was a losing franchise after Haslam took over and before Stefanski arrived. And there was the same corruption. Deshaun Kaiser, Hugh Jackson incentivized to lose. Deshaun Kaiser drafted in the second round as the franchise QB. I believe in the same year, Myles Garrett was drafted in the first round. So you chose to get Myles Garrett on defense and get a franchise QB out the second round. And you knew he needed to be developed, and you let him 0 and 15. That's cutthroat. And at the same time, the coach that was either his coach or right before, because there was a lot of musical chairs between 18, 19, and 20. Hugh Jackson was incentivized to lose. So if Hugh Jackson was Deshaun Kaiser's coach, and somebody could look it up, I'm incentivizing the black head coach to lose while I'm humiliating a second round quarterback that I want to make my franchise on the cheap, and I let him go 0 and 15 at the same time. Hugh Jackson said he was set up to fail. We're now seeing Stefanski set up Shedeur to fail. Same as Deshaun Kaiser, but they went about it differently. But the goal was the same. They didn't want Shedeur in the first round because, like the Saints and the Giants, the Browns have never had a black first round quarterback. But they pretend and they cut bait after everybody got settled. All you gotta do is go look at any of the facility videos that are out there on YouTube and find the one where Chase Daniels said it. And I bet you can say, when did Chase Daniels say on the show The Facility? I believe Jacksonville will sneak into the first round and look at the date. That's a reference. It said yes because a rebuild takes 2 to 3 years and he's been tanking for 5. Right. So this is how you know they not tanking. This is scamming. Who rebuilds through 2020 to 2025? And you want to add on 3 more years to get to 2028 and your stadium conveniently opens in 2029. So basically, at some point, you knew you was getting a stadium and you decided to just rebuild all the way. And you hired Stefanski right before George Floyd life was taken. The NFL decides to apologize. I'm sure y'all had to talk about that. It wouldn't surprise me if it had nothing to do with George Floyd, because look at how you acted behind racism, just snatching it out the end zone in one of the blackest cities out here, while you got Coach Prime on the stage and using Shedeur celebrity. You see what I mean? Posturing, luring people in, only to eat. That's it. Because you feel threatened that what they got going on gonna take away from what you got going on. You're not gonna be able to achieve your goals with them. That's what you're saying. Because you know they popular. That's what I'm thinking. Kevin Stefanski's mother. So Tim Carver is Kevin Stefanski's grandfather. Okay, so that is the same person. And again, and again, there is nothing that justifies Stefanski holding back Shedeur Sanders from QB1 that he didn't even want there and abusing him. That ain't on Coach Prime. They grown-ups. They could have handled that amongst themselves. It said that man $100 million lawsuit is looking more realistic with all of these receipts. Right. He is and Brian Flores. I totally agree. I totally agree. I don't know where they are in the process. It said Wyatt Teller, number 77, needs to come back. Let's see what happens. That's the first tell. You know, as you get closer to the end of the week, they put out the little list. And I haven't heard anything about Wyatt Teller. Let's see if the media asks. Stefanski conveniently did not mention the pass protection. Sylvia Taylor, that's not true. They're not related. Okay. So it's a whole back and forth about these people. It said it's misinformation. It said, I'm surprised Stefanski's still coaching the Browns. You and a lot of other people. It said, if you try to Google Tim, it said they did that because Prime was in the Raiders box. So what you're saying is they're posturing because the Raiders were nice to him when they were in Vegas, and now that Coach Prime is in Cleveland, they're being nice to him because it looks, and people talk about that. They say that don't look like it looks like they have a grudge, right? It looks like the way they treat Shedeur makes sense because now they're ignoring Coach Prime. So posturing, not pivoting, posturing. You know how you know they're not pivoting yet? Stefanski ain't been fired. That's the biggest pivot of them all. Why would I gravitate towards Shedeur and not fire Stefanski? Why would I protect Stefanski? 12 million followers have spoken. Facts. It said, I remember he poured water on him because he deserves it. He always spoke negative about Dion. Dion didn't do that until he got a call from his mother. Yeah, I don't know much about that scenario. And based on the back and forth that's happening, I don't even know if they really related. It said I looked it up. There's no connection. So there's no connection. We're just gonna leave it at that. We're just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna have to look it up. It said parents are Ed and Karen Stefanski. Everybody knows that. Okay. That's right. Ed Stefanski was in the NFL. So maybe people know who his mother is. So Ed and Karen, that's them. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank y'all for clearing that up. We appreciate y'all for clearing that up. It said, why would they hire Stefanski's mother? I don't think Stefanski was a 76ers NBA coach. It said, yes, Coach Prime is a class act and knows how to maintain a professional decorum in a variety of unfavorable, unpleasant, and uncomfortable situations. However, they do keep receipts. Mm-hmm. Yep. It said, what? The guy on the show with G. Bush says some crazy G got him. Some what? What you talking about? Let us know. Let us know. One thing about these folks, they lie. Right. It said the next game will be a true test. I said the Browns have been the true test, and he passed again. Yeah, you know not passing the more test. I don't give a damn if he go in here and lose to the players, the teams going to the playoffs. Why would you act like Shedeur need to beat Aaron Rodgers, Caleb Williams, and Josh Allen? You don't even think Lamar could beat Josh Allen. But if Shedeur get the hell out of here and beat Josh Allen, and understand, them hungry dogs gonna want that game. They gonna want all of it. Stefanski is the problem. And with Stefanski still being there, what I saw in that interaction from Haslam is posturing. I just block trolls and people that say dumb stuff. Facts, yeah, that's all you do. It said no, then you lost instead of a tie. It said he took him out for no reason. Yeah, he took him out. That's crazy. It said as they continue to move the goalposts, because that's what they're gonna do. I had this one little clip. It said if Shedeur go to the Super Bowl, they're gonna have an excuse. Shedeur could beat Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Jared Goff and all of that. They not gonna care. They not gonna care. It said they're gonna always come up with an excuse for why Shedeur isn't good. And think about Lamar Jackson, how it is he can never win the big games when Andrews dropped the ball. I said, how the hell are you blaming Lamar Jackson? That's like that whole interception, right? That's like that whole interception. I'm like, so y'all gonna sit up there and act like you didn't engage this time and jump too early, and he's short anyway. But you're gonna act like you didn't see that. Tell you Shedeur shouldn't have threw the ball. You know how many times they said they wanted Shedeur to throw the ball away? One time they wanted Shedeur to throw the ball away, he ran in for a touchdown. They always want him to throw the ball away. And why is that? So he don't score and his stats get trashed. They know what they doing, bro. This is all by design, and all of these talking heads are upset because 12 million people are counteracting them on a daily basis. Whenever they post, people coming at them, telling the truth. They're not used to that. They used to having their way, saying whatever the hell they didn't want to say about a black athlete. Stephen A. too. Remember people was getting on Stephen A. Same until people like Kwame Brown started calling him out. Now people call out Stephen A. They didn't used to do that. So things change, right? And that's my motto. Y'all want these people to stay the same while y'all abuse them. We're not doing that. Do y'all know who the Big 12, like the business conference called the Big 12? that has a page. It's not the real Big 12, but it's like a burner. They put together Shedeur stats. Remember from the tracker that I had? They put together Shedeur stats. And what? They pointed out, y'all said Shedeur practice bad, but he was the best person in practice with 70% accuracy. Somebody tried to point out the bottom line is Shedeur is only 54% accurate. I said you cannot separate the context from reality. Like, shut the hell up. Like, they just want to find a way. They just want to find a way. The reality of it is, after that last game, this right here is the absolute truth. One thing we saw today after the Titans game, Shedeur Sanders is not the Browns' problem. So that there's nothing else to see because he could beat Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and they're gonna try to make sure that don't happen. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco, and they're gonna come up with some excuse. And personally, I think they're gonna read the hell out of the games. Um, so they knew they didn't want to put Dylan out here because how many games have they won? Is it 3? Have they made it to 4 yet? According to Haslam, Stefanski is supposedly supposed to make it 2 games over the number of games he won last year. He's only won 6 games. So that means 3 last year and 3 this year. And he could have won that game to save his own job. But somehow he ain't worried about it. So that means what happened in the summer about we got to do better than last year, winning more than 3 games. He must have sent Stefanski a text and said, "Don't worry about it." He has won 6 games in 2 years, and they trying to protect him to come back next year. Let's see what's more important to them. Keeping Shedeur and trying to win or rolling with Stefanski and being exposed even further. Because they both do that. They shouldn't. I don't think they should. It said maybe Kevin's mom has a background. I don't think Miss Karen got no background, and her name is Karen, Lord. So I don't really think that. It said the way coach was greeting the Haslams, he was polite. I thought he was polite too, but intentionally a little dismissive playing the game. Yeah, because when he asked him if he needed anything, he said no, and he just kind of started to walk off. I think it was a father's posture. Let me shake the hand and look in the eye of the man who's allowing my son to be abused. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's exactly what I think. If the locker room is divided by Stefanski, well, for what I hear, I don't want to say it's along racial lines, the allegiances, but I kind of think it is, right? I think like looking at Greg White or whatever his name was, the defender they was Alex White, they were talking about today. He was like, I like Shedeur. And it's like he's tired of people the way they acted. So he just wanted to let people know, he a good dude. He always happy. I don't know. He been himself since he been here. So I don't know. And it's like they tired of it. It's like the players are getting tired of it. And they said Miles Garrett's interview was telling. I didn't get a chance to look at it. We might look at that tomorrow. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if Miles Garrett wanted to be a little transparent. I think I know what he said. I didn't watch it, but I read about it. It said something about we need to prepare to win. That's what he said. We need to prepare to win. So I prepare the O line to win. He likely didn't prepare the defensive line to win. And that's what Miles Garrett is saying. That's what I think. That's exactly what I think. He said Dion was selfish to play in both games on the same day. And he was self-centered. That's why Dion put water on the good old boy. That's what happened. Yeah, see, I mean, you have to know that they didn't want Coach Prime making decisions for himself. See, people look at it as they jealous because he's playing 2 sports. It's not about the sport. It ain't even about the money because the Falcons signed the contract, the Braves signed the contract. So ain't nobody business after that. It was about Dion making a decision for himself. Remember, black people are supposed to be dumb. Coach Prime was in the NFL. He's a part of that. Hell, race woman was more prevalent then than it is now. And it just ended on the books 4 years ago. So I can only imagine how disrespectful they are when you see how disrespectful they are now. And there might be people who were reporters back then who want to stick it to Coach Prime. But we talking about a professional sports team allowing the head coach to abuse a player and hold him back, lie on him, defame him. Does it sound familiar? That's what happened in the draft. So Dabao was the person who was either volunteered or voluntold, but he took pleasure in it. He took pleasure in lying on Shedeur. He took pleasure in defaming Shedeur's skill set. He took pleasure in making Shedeur seem difficult. He took pleasure in shunning Shedeur, humiliating Shedeur, degrading his draft stock. Stefanski is essentially Dabao in Cleveland, and he ain't been fired yet. I said Stefanski should have been fired after Callahan and before Dabao. So when you think about that interaction again, the fact that Stefanski ain't been fired makes me feel like since it was before the game, it was just posturing, like everything else. The t-shirts. Did y'all see the t-shirts? Did y'all have a chance to look at the video to see the t-shirts with the fire chain and the unity and all of that freedom and all of that on the back? Did y'all see any of that? Posturing. Number 12 gives people in the city of Cleveland hope. Right. Fans, the fans have latched on to Shedeur. At the game, I heard there were people there with signs that talking about Mendoza or whatever. And now people talking about Shedeur better than Mendoza. We ain't going down that road. The Browns fans, most from what I could see, the consensus around, they want to build around Shedeur. They want to take those 2 picks and get wide receivers and O linemen. I say you need to do something about special teams. See, Stefanski, you notice how he don't make adjustments when they mess up? He leave them in. Any other coach would have took Gage out. Any other coach would have put in another Humphrey out. Any other coach would have been Jerry Judy. Now you got to see what Jerry Judy gonna do next week. Is he gonna be consistent? Was he posturing? I'd say so when he did his. So we gonna see. Jerry Judy might want to get 12 million people off his back and possibly ice his family because that's what people say was going down. So we gonna see. Oh, the game is at 1 o'clock. I need to check and see if I have it. I should to make sure that you know how you do those out of market games. If it's in market, I'll schedule it later on during the week so people don't forget about it. Because if I schedule it too early, they'll forget. And yes, I'm definitely watching. I hope it's entertaining, but I ain't gonna hold my breath because it's Stefanski. Because they haven't fired him yet. Now Whitlock is spreading lies about CP in the Rolls Royce. Don't watch him, please. I don't watch him. Don't watch him. It said the flip floppers are trying to avoid being subpoenaed. All of that. All of that. All of it. All of it. It said Coach Prime lives freely in a lot of people's minds. Right. It's almost like they still worry. Well, I mean, he is a threat. Like the story that I told about the store owner, which is Coach Prime, the family business, the boy, Shiloh, the first one, then Shedeur, the second. It's taking longer to do what they want to do to Shedeur. Coach Prime, he didn't pass, but he was speaking. Same thing. What it has him say, how you doing? He immediately went to that like he's concerned, but you're not concerned about Shedeur. There's no justification for Haslam to allow Stefanski for months to abuse Shedeur, and then when Shedeur get on the field to sabotage it. There's no justification. And this Stefanski had the same wide smile touching on Coach Prime and proceeded to go start that game by holding Shedeur back, letting the O-line sack him until the flip the switch. And I don't know. It said They didn't like how confident Dion was and didn't like how confident Shedeur is. Okay. Is Lamar Jackson confident? Jalen Hurts is confident. Michael Penix Jr. is confident. Pat Mahomes, confident. But he over there with that. Mm, I would say Deshaun Watson was confident. I don't know if Deshaun has come to reality that they don't want to let him play, or if he's thinking if they keep Shador, he gonna somehow get in. The way Haslam was talking with Coach Prime, he already know what he want to do. And the fact that he hasn't fired Stefanski still in place to sabotage. The last 4 games are tougher. Posturing. That's what it is. I don't think there's no other way to look at it. Hit the like button for me, please. 282 people in here, or 202. I don't know. Welcome everybody. Welcome. So if you're just not joining us, we were talking facts right here. We were talking about Coach Prime's interaction with Haslam, what we thought about it. Context is it was before the game. It didn't seem like they ran into each other accidentally. If they did, Haslam wasn't caught off guard. I'm starting to wonder if with Coach Prime there, somebody decided, hey, just go ahead and fill him out, let him get a sweep, see how it goes. And then Cleveland decides to extend the same. I said, who will be the next owner or the third owner? Because now it's Haslam. When we were talking about Vegas, it was one. I said, who will be the next one? The question has been answered when y'all told me earlier that they had an interaction. And then I watched the video and he was in the suite and all of that. And I said, okay, so that's two. So now who will be the third? Let me see their schedule to see what games are away. I would imagine Coach Prime will go to every game. Think about it. You think, I mean, why wouldn't he go to every game? It's the off season, right? So here we go. Let me share this with y'all and we can kind of see who's involved with what. Um, Brown's schedule. Okay. Okay, here we go. Change the screen so y'all can see. Okay, here we go. All right. 4 games left. This is the end of the season. The last one is January 14th. So that's next year. We're going into the next year to be determined. So they don't know when that is. Okay, on the road. So they headed to Chicago. If Coach Prime goes there, I would expect for them to do the same thing, be nice, sweet, maybe see an interaction or just hear something good. Because how crazy is it that Coach Prime can show up and you don't do that, right? So now it's two, Vegas, Cleveland, and then I would imagine Coach Prime is sitting on Cleveland side. Maybe he'll speak this time. Then we have the Bills and the Browns. Um, that's December 21st. Damn, the year is gone. Jeez, the year is gone. That's in Cleveland. That's in Cleveland. So hospitable, I would imagine. And then we have the Steelers are coming to Cleveland. Okay, hospitable. Then the Bengals. So I would imagine that's a couple of more owners right there. One, two, three, four different owners. So we'll see if they are nice. I still feel like in Vegas they were filling him out to kind of see how it was gonna be. Because I mean, if I'm him, I would get pissed. So if he kind and whatever, but not a pushover, like he know what's going on, but he ain't tripping like that, then I think that they would all extend him some niceness. Now when it get to Jerry Jones, so um, so it just kind of goes to show you if you heard my little story, it was fiction that Even when you get somebody that's overzealous and you trying to, you know, be racist, they're just gonna move the overzealous person out the way, but they still gonna move forward with the plan. So if they like those people that were dressed from head to toe, covered up, don't expect nothing to be different. That's the point. That's the point. That's all I'm saying. It said, "Oh yes," it said, "Prime and the family will be at every game." I would hope so. I want to see snow. I was looking for snow. It said, "Be advised that I sat Coach Musgrave when he played quarterback at the University of Oregon. So Shedeur Sanders is surrounded by Dan Lanning and CAA operatives." Ah, okay, so Musgrave went to Oregon too, but Musgrave was Coach Prime's teammate. But if Coach Prime didn't know none of this, and they can't call Stefanski off, then is Musgrave really a friend or just a former teammate? Or did Musgrave send a message to Coach Prime? Like I said, Andrew Berry needs to do, and maybe he did. Just send an emoji to Shedeur, and he understand that he was gonna play. I don't know. But Coach Prime said he had a feeling it was gonna be that game. But if Musgrave is the quarterback coach, why did he even have to guess at that if they were teammates? Yeah, they are saying the Browns fed them the narratives. Who you talking about? Let us know. The Browns fed them what narratives? It said, "I'm sure Coach Prime already has his speech." Yeah, I would think so. Hey, do y'all remember the girl who ran up to Shedeur and said, "Hey, I got to make sure you stay out of trouble"? Is it just me, or did that look like her in that video when Coach Prime was walking in? There was a woman with a coat on. She had the same type of hair. It looks like the same person. And then I saw her standing, like waiting for Haslam and them to go in, and then Coach Prime to go in. It was almost like she was a host. Go back and look at the girl in the brown coat with the long, kind of slightly like curly hair, but not really. Like if she used like a flat iron on it or something, or whatever. Let me know if that's her, because I think it might be her. And if that's her, and she's the host when Haslam is around, and she's telling Coach Prime where he's supposed to go, why the hell would she be keeping tabs off of Shedeur when he off the clock? Go look at the video and let me know if it's her. I think the coat is a camel color. At first, I'm like, was she with Coach Prime? I said, wait a minute. I think that's the same girl. So it's like she was some kind of hostess. Again, maybe she keeping tabs on Coach Prime. Go look at the video and tell me if that's her. Let me know. It said our media is circling back doing damage control. It's about to go down. And not Coach Prime. This is how many corporations have been doing business for a long time. Oh, yeah, I agree. Great show. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Ramon. It says Stefanski can read how people are talking about his father's treatment of Allen Iverson. So he's got his mom's information squirreled from the internet. I mean, maybe it's just not the same people, though. You don't think so? That's a rough schedule. It is a rough schedule. People say it was her. I don't know. Like, oh, wait, Echo, who you talking about when you say her? The mama or the girl that was following Shedeur? So, okay, if Echo is saying that was the same girl that was talking and rolled up on them when Shiloh was filming, it's like she didn't even know what's going on. She just came into the situation and was like, there you are, I got to keep tabs on you. Like, excuse me? So if that's the same girl and she's hosting and she comfortable around Haslam, like, what the hell is she? That needs to be discussed because was she keeping tabs on Coach Prime to see what he was gonna do too? Remember, they got him to sweep. So y'all don't think that's weird? Some girl that looked like an intern, but she's not. She was in the. Let me see if she popped up in the video that I had. She was in the interaction, guys. She wasn't talking, but it's like she's some kind of hostess or something. Funny when Coach Prime walked in, she walked right in front of him. Trying to see if I can see her again. See, here's what gets me, right? When Coach Prime walked off, the smile just drops. Just like when Roger Goodell, if you go back and look at that video, when he told Shedeur, I'm worried about your pops, he immediately looks away and the smile stops. You see? Now, I don't know Haslam. I'd have to go watch him in some other videos. But if you go back and look at the video and you show it down, you can see the facial expression change. And then when the next person walk up, the bodyguard, I'm Jimmy. Or just saying his name, Jimmy. Just like introducing himself. I don't know. And then that girl, if that's her, if that is her. So see, they hugged before they left. And then Jimmy Smiles begins to go down as Coach Prime is getting ready to walk past him. He takes his hand. It's off his shoulder. The smile's gone. Then he's looking at the next set of people that could just be normal. Maybe it's no need to smile. Then he immediately. Now, this is what I'm going to show y'all this. This is what I find very, very interesting. Okay. Coach Prime has bodyguards, right? So just look at this. I'm going to just go slow with it so you can see what I'm seeing. All right. Now, you see, this is normal. Somebody that's looking at you, I'm going backwards. Somebody that's looking at you in your face. Let's just go slow. Let me make sure y'all can see it. See, I'm glad I looked. Y'all couldn't see it. Oh, that's me twice. Don't know why I'm on it twice. All right, just take a look at these. Just take a look at these. All right, 276 of us. Hit the like button. Okay, I'm going slow. I'm not playing it. I'm just slowly advancing the footage. Nothing but bodyguards. Nothing but bodyguards. There's a woman in a camel color coat who looks like the same girl. She might not be in this frame, but if you go watch the video, I'm pretty sure it's the same girl that ran up to Shedeur and said how to keep you out of trouble. Sound like she bird dogs on Coach Prime. This Coach Prime, that's the hand on the waist. I don't know who the guy is that's just watching in the head. Hand on the waist, familiarity, a little bit of power. Now the smile is not there, but it's okay. It's not like it's a total drop on the facial expression. Familiarity, touching, just like Stefanski. Coach Prime saying they asked him how he was. They make it, has him looking dead in his face, making contact. Thank God he backed up a little bit. Just a conversation. All right. See, I'm listening because Coach Prime is talking, but I look engaged. Now just watch. Just watch. Hospitable. That are touching again. Familiarity, comfortability. Coach Prime ain't touch nobody. Just understand that. Thumbs. Oh, he's asking him a question. Asking him a question. Do you need anything? He looking engaged. He's listening. He's actively listening. Actively listening. They get ready to part ways. Again, the facial expression. Pay attention to the facial expression right here. Get ready to hold. They cover up the other person's face because they're not a part of this scenario. Haslam, of course, smiles, and then right here. You see? You see it? He don't even look back or turn to nobody else. His eyes are fixed on the bodyguards, the very imposing black man in front of him. Look at us. You see? You see? You see? You see? And my eyes are straight away on these really big boots. You see? Now watch this. Extends the hand out and get ready to say my name. But do you see how fixated he is on the bodyguard? You see that? It's like who is this, right? And Coach Prime didn't introduce nobody. So you saw at the beginning how big these guys are. That's who he's looking at. All of them. That's who he was looking at. And then he introduced himself like to the first one. He just said Jimmy. It's like he wanted to know who they were. But I would think he wouldn't have known that was Coach Prime bodyguard. And Coach Prime didn't introduce nobody. Jimmy didn't look back. Coach Prime didn't look back. And Coach Prime got bodyguards behind him, and he didn't even look back to see where they was at. But Jimmy was fixated on them. So, what y'all think? Did the facial expression immediately drop and it go to who is this? I don't know. I think when you meet somebody that's an old friend and you keep touching on them and you super familiar, the moment that they pass you, you don't just facial expression just go like it was fake. You don't go from that's what it was. And then I'm doing all of this. So I want to see what y'all say about that. 285 or something else. Hit the like button. It said Coach Prime not feeling it, people. He said he got a new number and all. He did say he got a new number. He sure did. He sure did. He sure did. It said Shedeur just like playing football. I'm sure he wasn't expecting none of this. Nobody was. None of them were. None of them. Believe me, they were taken by surprise. Echo said it was the girl. Oh, he said she's South Asian or Indian. That was the girl that ran up to Shedeur when he was off the clock and told, stayed in front of Shiloh, you know, I got to keep up with you, keep tabs on you so you don't get into trouble. So they got her bird dogging Coach Prime. Was she anywhere near the suite? I'd have to go back and check. Somebody check the footage and see if when they show Coach Prime walking into the building, you're going to see her like she's a hostess. But I don't think I saw her anymore near the suite. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I wonder if Bucky knew who that was. Remember, that was Shiloh and Shedeur. It wasn't Bucky, but I'm sure Shedeur probably told him about the girl. But then again, he don't say a lot. If you notice, they didn't. They was like 500 yards, and he was like, "Just win." They didn't know what was going on. It said, "What's up, fam? We as fans need to put a stop to this exploitation of our athletes." I mean, we could do what we could do, but they got to do something too. So I totally agree. Echo said it's definitely her. It's definitely her. She said she was with the Barry team, came up to Coach Prime. Okay, wait a minute. We're talking about two different people. So are we talking about we're not talking about the girl at the tour. And I did think she said something about the Barry team. So okay, that makes sense. We're talking about at the stadium before they all go in the building for the game. The little hostess that ran up to Shador when they was in Pittsburgh who was on Shiloh video when he was impersonating Shedeur, saying, "Oh, there you go. You know, I have to keep tabs on you." And it was caught on camera. And I don't think she knew she was on camera. And Shiloh, the big brother, immediately quipped, "Oh, he don't get into trouble." So, and I saw the look on Shadeur's face. He didn't really like that. So that same girl at the Pittsburgh game, when she was off the clock, and they had her bird dogging him, is in the video with Coach Prime. And I think she bird dogging him. That's kind of crazy. So it said somebody else said it ain't her. So people don't know if it's her or not her. It said, yes, that looked like her. She went to meet him. Yeah. It looked like she's some kind of hostess or something like that. It said the Cleveland media. I think that is her because I saw a good shot of her when Coach Prime was getting ready to go into the suite area before he went into the suite, right? You know, they walk you in the building and all of that stuff. And she was standing there. And I said, that's the same girl. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's her. So it said the Cleveland media is saying the Browns fan fed them Shadeur's narrative. The Cleveland is saying, oh, the Browns fed them the Shedeur narrative. Oh, so now we doing this. We doing this. Oh, okay. Yeah, something to shake. Something to shake. I don't know what it is. It said, I believe like Hollywood stars, they all have handlers too. Yeah, okay. 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 I get it. It said, I'm glad Pilar is in Cleveland with her baby boy. Facts. She's a handler. So whose handler is she? Is she Haslam's handler? Or she's whoever got to be given access? And why am I handling Shedeur against his wishes? That wasn't you don't get an employee to follow your employee around. You might have a handler to follow Coach Prime around so he don't get lost and wander off and go looking through files. I get that. But there was no excuse for her to walk up to Shedeur and say, there you go, I gotta keep you out of trouble. That's not a handler. That's trying to make you uncomfortable. She might have been a hostess for Coach Prime, but that's the same girl. And I find that very interesting. It said, I hope so. It said these chicks ain't loyal, so run away from all groupies. How we get there? How we get to the South of groupies? It said she's the babysitter. That's the girl. It said, yes, people are fake around coach. Yes, that's why he got so many bodyguards. Chat, hit the like button and subscribe. Yes, please hit the like button and subscribe. My phone is off. Let's see, 200 and I don't know what the hell that say. 284 of us. PA said, thank you, sister, for the videos for all of these months. You have been staying on these fools next with the disrespect to 12. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It said Pastor Jamal Bryant. Somebody not loyal. Oh my God. He said that. It said, I wish I knew what Coach Prime kept laughing at with Bucky. He was talking in code and Bucky was cracking up. He told Shedeur he'll tell him later. Okay. I didn't catch that. It said, why does Skip Bayless say Coach Prime and has him a good friends? He keeps saying that. Okay. Skip Bayless keeps saying he friends with Haslam. And I done said this before on the Skip's page. You keep saying Shedeur need to ask for a trade. Stefanski did want Shedeur to tie up the game. Now, I don't know. Did he call for Stefanski to be fired? Because he was trying to tell Shedeur need to ask for a trade. Skip been around the league too long. He know that don't work like that. I ain't saying you got to be scared, but we got to be smart too, right? He know how that go. And I was like, if you friends with Haslam like you say, why you can't get Haslam to call the dogs off? This is what I meant by if Musgrave played ball with Coach Prime, if Skip Bayless is upset how Shedeur is being treated and he friends with Haslam. According to Tony Grossi, Coach Prime called Haslam on draft day. He told that story about a month ago. I don't know what the hell he said, but apparently he has his phone number. So maybe there was some truth that they were friends. Don't know how they would know each other. And when you saw them today, Haslam act like they was old friends. So Coach Prime walked off and he was more intrigued as to who these big black dudes are right here. And I would think he would know that's Coach Prime bodyguards. But and then having the handler go from Shedeur to Coach Prime. Coach Prime pulled away, yeah, and he moved on. Color is flush red too. What are we talking about? Let me know. I don't know. It said Haslam is definitely intimidated. I think so too. I think so too. It said, is he nervous about the robbery? You know, I thought about that. I thought about that. That's what I said. When I was talking to y'all, going through my head. He looked like, I don't know if they set it up like that, because Coach Prime didn't even look back at his own bodyguard. But when Coach Prime walked up, Haslam could see the guys behind him. And I saw him kind of look. He focused on Coach Prime. Then when Coach Prime was gone, his face expression just instantly changed. He never turned around. Coach Prime never turned around to see where his bodyguards are. And that was 4 big imposing men. And I didn't think Coach Prime had 4 bodyguards. I thought he had 1 or 2 max. But in Cleveland, he had 4. Maybe because of the robbery. Maybe it's a message. But you see how Coach Prime walked off? He said he didn't need anything. He was pleasant, forgiveness. 4 bodyguards, those big guys. And Haslam, he was looking. And we got a handler in the mix. Yeah, this situation ain't as clean cut. It say, heck, he's probably thinking about recruiting them. He might be. He might be. She led them to the suite. So she is some kind of bird dogger. Okay. Stay with them. Stay with him. Okay. Okay. Interesting. It said Prime is reading the room and checking for thieves. I felt like Haslam, he a billionaire. Maybe that's what he was checking for too. Coach Prime is well aware of who they are. It said no, only his crew was in the suite. Yeah, I saw did I see Florida now? No, I don't know if I saw Florida. I think I saw Pooch the jeweler, Coach Prime, and some other people I didn't recognize. It said we're not talking about the girl at the office facility. Yeah, we're not talking about her. Echo said it's definitely her. It definitely looked like her, and I thought it was her. I just thought I would ask y'all, but I thought it was her. It said Cam told Shedeur 4 touchdowns, 364 yards. I'm gonna put that jersey on eBay. That's hilarious. Do you know somebody paid $50,000 for Shedeur football card after the game? So Cam was on to something. Shedeur said, "Yeah, I need to make some money." Yeah, because Cam got paid. Shedeur gonna get his money. Shedeur gonna get his money. I will always say this. If you think that Coach Prime had something to do, or Travis went fishing with him, knowing other people weren't really going there, except for a few people, and he got his contract, understand this. Shedeur gonna get that money. And I don't think it's gonna be $46 million. So Coach Prime is smart. Understand that. Haslam looked like he was nervous about something. Did he set up the robbery? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It said they are lying. They saw the practices. They are lying. A handler is someone who keeps tabs on you, unfortunately, the team. Yep. It said she's probably a part of the hospitality. She may be the personal assistant to some players. Understand this. If she was Shadeur's personal assistant, she wouldn't have ran up to him and said what? Oh, there you go. You know, I got to keep you out of trouble. At a time where Stefanski is abusing Shedeur. She was bird dogging him. And I said it. If they got her following him off the clock, there's somebody else following him too. And now he's the hostess for Coach Prime. I'm sorry. She ain't nobody's personal assistant other than Haslam's. And I don't think that's her job either. It said he really doesn't trust people anymore. Why would he? It said, yes, he did call for him to be fired. Okay, so he finally called for Skip Bayless finally called for Stefanski to be fired. Okay. Facts, Queen. It says CPP who they know who they are now. He know for sure now. He know for sure now. That's why, think about it. When Coach Prime, I posted on my stories. They showed Coach Prime's reaction in text form after they took Shedeur out toward the end. He said, "Wow," and then he just started like, praising God. We're gonna thank God or whatever. But imagine, this is what I mean by I'ma just move Stefanski out the way and do it myself. Imagine, I just ran into you. That's why I asked y'all, what's the context of this video? Is this after the game or before the game? So I run into you before the game, you touching all over me just like Stefanski. Just like Stefanski, but a lot more. You asserting your power. You touching me right here like we real cool. Apparently, Tony Grossi says Coach Prime did call Haslam at some point. Unless they trying to say Coach Prime made the phone call. There were these people in the room, and there was a call, and everybody was in the room. No, because look at how they've been treating Shedeur. So let's say Coach Prime called up during the draft and has them put it on speaker, and they were like, okay, let's just go ahead and get him because Coach Prime called, right? Why would I mistreat him like that? Why would I threaten to cut him every 30 days? I'm gonna go with 47. Because what happened after the draft? A day or two after, 47 announced that the NFL draft is in DC in 2027. That makes more logical sense. But when you think about it, Haslam super familiar with Coach Prime, right? Proceeds to let Stefanski do him. Then call the dogs off. They could play the game. Shedeur balls out. I saw Coach Prime this week celebrating and stuff like that. And then they take him out at the end. So you thinking for the back half of the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, Shedeur good to the end. That's what you're thinking, right? And then Stefanski gets to be him again. Now that could be Stefanski, and has him gone by that point. He could have went home. We don't know. But it is strange. I'm not shocked by Stefanski touching on Coach Prime and being fake. I picked up on that. But the whole Haslam thing, the bird dogger on Coach Prime and on Shedeur. As soon as Coach Prime went past, his facial expression just like Roger Goodell. I'm worried about your pop. and looked off immediately, and as if he knew to get ready. Get ready for what? What you talking about? Immediately looked off. It said they're keeping tabs on them because they will not be compromised. Hmm. It said they had dinner at CU, but I don't think Haslam was there. From what I heard, it was Coach Prime, Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, Travis, and Shedeur. Now, everybody that watched CU Pro Day and saw the Cleveland bunch said Stefanski was making it a point to look only at Travis as if to tell you what's going on. I told you he be trying to tell. He be trying to tell. And understand this. If Stefanski got a phone call to knock it off or play the game regular, he went back to the end and he probably asked, "Can I go back to the end so we could lose this game?" And they said, "Yeah." Both of them were smiling in Coach Prime's face, and they still took Shedeur out on those Wildcats. Remember my story I told? We're gonna move the overzealous one out the way, and the foreman gonna get it done. The one that actually knows the father. Obviously, Haslam knows Coach Prime. It said Coach Prime has been dealing with these folks for a long time. Yeah, but he was still cut off guard by them in the draft. It said, I believe, uh, I'm not sure. I believe Coach Prime. It said all that touching, Coach Prime better check his practice. That was a lot of touching, Terry. That was a lot of touching. I'm like, you asserting your power, you asserting familiarity, you making sure he's comfortable. Again, I'm luring you in, but then I'm gonna go and take your son out this game like it's normal. No, it's not. And people also said those were fireable offenses. So they still let Stefanski do stupid stuff. That's my point. Ain't nobody checking him, and he didn't get fired after the game, and he ain't been fired yet. So all of that was posturing. So when Coach Prime said, "Wow, yeah, you touching all over me, and then you gonna allow this to happen?" Just like what? The draft. If he has some phone number and they talk like that or something, and he close enough to him that he got his damn phone number, and Haslam, how did he say that he wasn't my pick? Look how he didn't. You would have thought Coach Prime dated has a girlfriend or something. The way that went down, he didn't care with his words. He let Stefanski treat him any kind of way. I can't think of nothing Coach Prime could do on this earth that I could come out and say I don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur, and then I go get the guy I'm mad at son and mistreat his son. No, absolutely not. I think 17-32 is greater than any friendship Coach Prime has with Jerry Jones, Haslam, the guy in Vegas, the Bills person he goes to, and the rest of them. I think 17-32 rules everything. Once we said you weren't part of the plan and we made sure we took you off the board so you're not part of the plan, and then we're forced to take you, it just went the same way it went for Vince Young with Jeff Fisher and the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. The same. Try to destroy you because they've done this so many times. They know how to turn it on. They know how to turn it off. That's why the facial expression immediately disappears. It said before the draft, Haslam, Kevin, Shedeur, and Travis were at dinner together. Yeah, I didn't know Haslam was there. I thought they said only Stefanski and Barry went, and they only went. They only went to posture. That was more posture because they said they have to make a decision on Travis and Shedeur. They had already decided to trade Travis away. They made it official by the time they drafted Flacco on April 10th, 6 days later. They already knew what they was going to do. So 2 weeks before the draft, after everybody has figured out who it is they want to get, you cut bait. All the interviews pretty much wrapped on up. All the pro days are done because CU was last. And they went last after the last cutoff. They were last. Everybody out there was posturing. Everybody. What does that tell you? That you can't believe nothing about them. They all were posturing, including the Denver Broncos. They didn't take nobody. And they right there. I think they gave Will Shepherd a trial, but he didn't make it. They said CP might be working on something behind the scenes, silence and golden. That's facts. It said Florida was where they can go out to the door and stand. They have seats there, but they were watching the game there and filming. Okay. Are you talking about on the field or in the suite? Maybe he was checking for weapons. Something. You know what? Hell, you might be right. You know what? I'm laughing. But now that you think about wait a minute. Now that you call it out, he was looking at the guys. So that means he's guilty. He was doing all that. Hold on, let's look at it. That's the interesting point. That's a very interesting point. And you're talking about a billionaire. So they got to learn how to, anyway, because everybody don't have access to people like that. They move different. That's hilarious. And think about, I want you to see how he looking past time at the guys behind him, and then I want you to watch this again because that's a very interesting point. I ain't even think about that. Okay, here we go. Let me get it back on the screen. This is good. We having a study session. We studying this video. I never even thought about that, but I did notice the girl though. So, okay, all right, y'all can see it. Here we go. I'm gonna just drag it across. So it starts with the 4 big guys. Now Bucky be telling stories with his filming. I've been saying that. It starts with the 4 big guys. It makes you go, who the hell are they? Because they're huge. I've never known Coach Prime to travel with this many bodyguards, but maybe things changed because Shedeur got robbed. Maybe they inside job, so when Coach Prime go to Cleveland, he need extra security. Understand this. Look, all right. It cuts from them and it goes straight over to Coach Prime and has him already got his hand. And that's just a weird place to touch a person. I don't think he patted him down or nothing, but he is holding him right there. And Coach Prime is kind of like, so Coach Prime moves on. He runs his hand down. He touches his arm again. This is a lot of touching. The white guy is intently watching. I don't know who he is. Maybe that's his bodyguard. Got his hand on Coach Prime. That's crazy. Let me go slow. I'm gonna let it play slow. So the people are behind Coach Prime because the door's to the left. Grabs the arm.
We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you?
Just kind of touching the arm, just familiarity.
12 play well today, right? Good to see you, man.
Hugging from the inside of the jacket, but it could have been an accident.
Honored to see you. How we doing?
I don't know. It might be. I might be
How you
right.
feel?
Already looked over his shoulder and he comfortable.
We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you? You need anything? Let's play 12 play well today, right? Good to
Over his
see you,
shoulder.
man.
Now look at how I'm looking at it. Did you see the instant? Did you see the face drop? No, it's so noticeable even when the video goes fast. And then he put his hand back in his pocket. Then he motioned forward to introduce himself. Why would you introduce yourself to Coach Prime bodyguard?
We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you? You need anything? Let's play 12 play well today, right? Good to see you, man. Hey, guys.
What's going on? Honored to see you.
Come on, one second.
How we doing?
Again, the guy to the side is like hella watching. I don't know what he got going on.
We're glad to have you. Are we taking care of you? You need
The
anything?
hand gonna go in the jacket.
Let's play 12 play well today, right? Good to see you, man. Hey, guys.
And then he's saying, "Hey guys, why would he want to meet the bodyguards?" I mean, they just don't nobody really kind of like talk to them like they don't really. They know everybody know this bodyguard. You ain't supposed to be small talking with them, asking them who they are, how they doing. But he was definitely interested. He was definitely interested. And I didn't know Coach Prime had that many bodyguards, but it is Cleveland and Shedeur did get robbed. And I have no idea what Coach Prime is saying because I know Miss Flora was at the house, so I have no idea what's going on there. Um, so all right, it said the baddest show on the planet. Thank you so much. It said yes, 47 made that call. I think so too. I think so too. It said Coach Prime asked to speak to AB. Interesting. Interesting. Remember, Musgrave grabbed Shedeur away from talking to Bucky. That was Musgrave. Oh my God. Like he was a toddler. They definitely keep the tab. Yeah. Kevin Stefanski doesn't want Shedeur to get the glory. Absolutely. And I don't think he's the only one. He was probably thinking, I wonder if somebody is at Shedeur house now. That's crazy. That's crazy. It said Haslam was there too. Skip said it too. Haslam was there. Let me know what you're talking about. You say Skip said it. Haslam was where? It said when Coach Prime was up in the box, he said that's what Shedeur does. Oh yeah, balling out, balling out. Tamika, Coach Prime is blessed up and protected by God. Absolutely. Mrs. Juanita, you on to something. She is on to something. That's what I said. All that touching was checking for something. It said could have planted something on him. It said and has one in S12 nightstand. Yeah. They said they cleaned out the contents of that. But now, if that's the little lady, the same one, Bird Dog and Shedeur, Bird Dog and him, they already had the suite picked out. Yes, I can put something in the suite. Absolutely. I can record, you don't know. That's my property. And why would I have somebody Bird Dog and him? Why would it be the same person that's Bird Dog and Shedeur? You see what I'm saying? It's the same person. If Shedeur was off the clock. All the people that work there, don't they have people that escort you to the suite? From what I can recall, it's people standing outside the door of the suite. They making sure you belong in the suite. I just remember walking up the suites on my own. Nobody, the people on the elevator be on there to make sure you belong on the elevator to go up to the floor with the suites. You get off the elevator, you go to the suite. It's people at the suite. It's people in the suite to make sure you belong in the suite. And people don't just wander in. So she is there for what? And I didn't see Andrew Berry. Did y'all see Andrew Berry in any of this footage? And we saw him in Vegas. Coach Prime is asking for Andrew Berry. It said that's the MO to lure you in by making you feel comfortable. NFL showed who they are doing the draft. Right. I totally agree. A bug. It said, I'm wondering if he was just touching Prime or patting him down. That's a good question. Neither people asking. The art of war. That's what it is. It said, remember during the draft, Coach Prime said, I know what this is about. Nah, I didn't hear him say that, but okay. It said, and the one guy on the wall looking like, yeah, you talking about the dude standing there with the hat on, looking unsuspecting with the I forgot what you call them kind of caps, but with the hands in his pocket like it's cool. You don't know if he waiting on a car valet to pull up or if he went past him, he got out first. I don't know. I have to go back and check the other video, but y'all see, it's some, how should I say it? It's some peculiarity in the video. It said, I looked it up. Haslam was there. Where was Haslam when y'all say he was there? I truly believe he's in a pickle. Pay attention, chat. Yeah. When y'all say he's there, what are y'all talking about? It said before the draft, Coach Prime said the bull junk is about to get started. Yes, he did. He said he taken off a week. He was going on vacation before the bull junk gets started with the draft. So somebody tipped him off. And if Musgrave is pulling on Shedeur like a toddler, I'm right about him. He not friendly to Coach Prime, even though they was teammates. And the CAA agency, everybody's connected in cahoots, the Landis, everybody. Even Dan Orlovsky and Rex Ryan in cahoots with them, I heard too. All the people that hate on Shedeur have the same agenda, but they with the same agency. Interesting. It said, and it will all play itself out. It said, I'm not sure Barry ain't posturing. Yeah, you don't know how he, but I think we didn't see him. Normally, he goes up to Shedeur publicly and congratulates him, but maybe because they lost, he kept his distance. I don't know. I believe all those coaches went to Colorado's pro day to look at other players. They already knew they were getting Shedeur, right? But they postured like they were getting Shedeur. Even Mary Cabot is on camera talking about it. She said, after CU's pro day, and Andrew Berry and Haslam and Stefanski all have a hard decision to make on Travis and Shedeur. That's what she said. And that's why they went to dinner. It said, I would get one of those scanners to check for cameras and recording devices. It said they ain't to be trusted. He was patting him down like the police on the cool. It said wristband check for weapons. Something. It said, seems like all of the scouts were posturing every day they watched. I think they were too. I would have got a new nightstand. I don't even think that's, some people said that's not the same house, but I really don't know. It said he's checking for a vest or something. It said, I'm sorry, this scared me. It said, that's just crazy, just crazy. It said CP kept it pushing, right? Somebody said they thought they saw the Cabot lady. I thought that was his wife. CP knows they all played him on draft day. Facts. Facts. They can leave out a door in the suite and sit and stand directly in front of the suite. Only those from the suites can access. Yeah, I noticed they were sitting in them little row of chairs and then they went into the suites where they had the snacks and stuff. He said, we're taking care of you. You need anything when he pointed his thumb. Yeah, he asked him if he needed anything. Totally agree with that. Beach is saying he was flushing in red in the face, which is an emotional response. Review the color rush after Prime walks off. That means your heart beating fast. Okay. It said, why you want to be bodyguards? Right. That's the part that, so did you think they was random? I'm like, because it's the way, and if you look at the long form video, he walks right up to him and says, Jimmy, like he waiting on the guy to tell him his name. I'm like, nobody prefaces bodyguards. Everybody know they're their bodyguards. And Bucky started the camera with them for it. He didn't have to do that. This little clip right here, unless I did that. But I don't think I did that. I don't think I did that, but somebody else might have did it. I ain't gonna say he did it because I saw his video. It's longer, so he didn't do it. Somebody else put it out there. The peculiarities tells you that there was more to this situation than meets the eye. And based on what happened in the game, Stefanski, Haslam not calling the dogs off. It got to a point where we called the dogs off, and then we let Stefanski go back to the stupidity of losing the game. So maybe I let Shedeur ball out while his dad was here, but the goal was still to lose the game. Remember what I said about the overzealous guy? They just gonna move him. So Stefanski, let Shedeur play is moving Stefanski out the way for a little bit, and make sure you lose this game. So the game plan, them practicing the wildcat all week, it was already determined they were going to lose. Stefanski did not expect that wildcat to work twice. And when it did work the first time, he didn't abandon it. He didn't go to a general standard that I call 2-point conversion. They plan to lose. But Coach Prime here. So we're gonna need to switch it up. So the overzealous one, go stand in the corner, flip the switch, let them play, but don't lose the damn game. Because we're not trying to be in the playoffs. We're not trying to have the narrative. Shedeur Sanders got to the playoffs and they let Dylan play 6 games. The narrative is happening regardless. The narrative is happening regardless. I read it to you. The guy said it's inexplicable as to why Dylan would play. He didn't say Dylan, but the guy before Shedeur would play 6 games because Shedeur was light years better than him. There was no justification for that. They wanted to lose. It gives the impression that they pre-draft with Shedeur extensively, pivoted at the last when it was too late for anybody else to be interested. Everybody else kind of already knew. But even Tennessee made a decision on Cam late. They still was going to trade that pick. But I don't think Shedeur was really an option for them. I think people were posturing because I remember at the last minute, the New York Giants called a last minute meeting with Shedeur. And that's where all that fugazi took place, where they was trying to set him up with some option plays or something like that, or some kind of stupid plays. And that was a impromptu. That was like impromptu, right? It wasn't, he had all of the meetings with them, but they wanted the 30 for 30 or whatever. But they wanted another meeting at the last minute, like they were really interested. They were posturing, and Shedeur knew it. And now we all know how they posture. When you see them and they start touching on you, a bell need to go off in your head. Don't believe nothing. They are posturing, and they knew Coach Prime was gonna be there, and they chose to posture. But like I said, they overzealous went out the way, and I'm pretty sure the owner said, "But you still need to lose this game." That's why they were pressing the Wild all week. They weren't trying to win. Stefanski had Quishawn Jenkins trying to find Gage, who was dropping passes all night. Why you just didn't let Quishawn Jenkins run it in? Because I increased the degree of difficulty to score. That's why I like Darryl Ruger's explanation. It shows you that Stefanski put the team in a position to be absolutely dependent on the 2-point Wildcat. And he won't even call it that. He act like it's a regular 2-point conversion like everybody does it. Nope. And not everybody takes their quarterback out for a 2-point conversion. So Stefanski still allowed to be Stefanski. They still went ahead and lost the game in front of Coach Prime. They did let Shedeur ball out to posture in front of Coach Prime because we want to still be on the up and up, right? We got all these people around, all this kind of stuff. So they was posturing while he was there. But the goal was to lose the game. Like I said, I'm going to move the overzealous one out the way. But the agenda is still the agenda. And it was to lose the game. Do you think they want to beat these last 4 teams? Stefanski's supposed to do better than 3 games, but he still got a job. He only won 6. They trying to get him back next year. Pressure is the only reason the narrative is changing. Let's see what happens next. That's Guido on the sideline. Who's Guido? It says CP needs big and bodyguards. I mean, I don't know what nobody's expecting to happen, but I didn't know he had 4 bodyguards like that. Them some big guys. It said Diddy did checking for a wife. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. He said he did walk away from Haslam like he walked away from, okay, Miss Pamela. All right, now let's behave. Let's behave because we got to follow Miss Pilar, so let's behave. It said he who laughs last laugh loudest. Now that's fact. It said them big bodyguards probably can toss somebody. They were huge. I'm telling you, I've never seen all of them. It said I'm glad to see all of them. Right, and they surely interested in knowing what's what. Prime ain't no fool. Absolutely. He didn't even look back to see if they was keeping up with him. That says a lot. It said that's about it. I don't think they're in shape. It said no. It said Haslam knows CP wants to talk to Barry and was checking CP for recording devices. Y'all think one of the devices they dig in the dirt, probably played in the bug in the football suite. It would not surprise me, bro. It would not surprise me. Because if you have somebody, the same person, Bird Dog is shooting, and that same person hosting Coach Prime, I'm staying with Shedeur to keep him out of trouble. So why am I bird dogging you? To keep you out of trouble? To see what you got going on? You're not keeping Shedeur out of trouble. You're keeping tabs on Shedeur to see what he got going on. You're doing the same thing with Coach Prime. You bird dogging it. It's the energy they give out. Yep. It said, little did we know, Coach was dealing with cancer. They said that's why he was taking off. Yep. That's nice. Can you make out what Coach Prime says to Bucky in the parking lot on their way to Shedeur's house? They said, I kept trying to hear, but he's laughing too much now. They know how to manipulate them words so you don't know what they're saying. It said Cleveland is a gambling town, lots of Vegas connections to the Cleveland press, listening to their podcast. Really? They probably trying to get that inside info when they put out, like Stefanski said he was benching Wyatt Teller, even though Vegas still had winning, but the spread was right though. The team was wrong, but the spread was right. You think Gage on the tape? Some people are wondering. I hope not. People are really wondering. It said Stefanski took Shedeur out one time too many. Now even know that something is funny in the water. Right. That's the overzealous one. That's the overzealous one. It said the agenda is still the agenda. That's what people need to understand. That's the message. That's the message. The agenda is still the agenda. You still a threat. I'm still gonna get the Manning kid. It's just a year later. They already didn't want to talk about going to the playoffs and Shedeur putting them in a hunt, and they didn't want to have scenarios that face the fans, the market to come on out. Shedeur got us in the playoffs. It was all they said last week was, "Well, the season's over," and I said, "No, the hell it ain't. It's like 6 games left." Oh, that was week before last. I'm like, "Why y'all keep saying it's over?" Now you know. And when you look at Stefanski's personnel choices, the media pushing the narrative, the season is over, nothing to be concerned about. And they was eliminated after the game. And they came out and said that like, hey, that's all intentional. We don't want to celebrate you. We're posturing. The tail is all of the touching. That's why I say, is this some kind of class? Because you let that happen, I don't know instantly what the hell going on. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what? You take care. I gotta go. Yep. Yeah, Gage got a lot of passes, just like Isaiah Bond. Gage and Isaiah Bond, it's time. It's time. So now you got to go back and you got to look at when Shedeur scored a touchdown. After Shedeur in the first 2 games, I don't remember the Raiders game, but the Raiders game, then they slowed it down. The 49ers game, they shut down the whole second half. And I said into this game, Stefanski figured out he has to manipulate the O-line from the onset, from the jump, so as to not allow Shedeur to score at all. And he didn't start throwing the ball until they hit that switch. And then immediately Shedeur begins to score. So see, they know if you don't want Shedeur to score, the O-line has to be weak from the beginning. See, in the other games, they sub out Teller and Posick, and that's when the line got weak. But Shedeur had already scored or was already successful or whatever. After he scores, they shut it down. Now, in this game, he managed to score multiple times, and one he got himself. But notice, after he got those 2 touchdowns, Gage, Isaiah Bond, unfortunately, they seem to have been dropping. It was like a switch with them. So it's a switch to let Shedeur throw. He get 2 touchdowns. It's a switch to start dropping passes. That slows Shedeur scoring down. And then Stefanski uses the wildcat. Go watch it. The pattern's there. And Gage jumped way too early. Ain't no way you gonna get that. If you look at what a ball was, it ain't like the ball. When you look at the picture, it's like the ball is here and Gage is over here. I'm like, how was you gonna get that? You want to say he missed time to jump, but even Tommy Reese, when Gage dropped that ball, I gave him a pass because I saw him put his hand behind him to brace his fall, and I said, that's an accident. So what I have said about Gage is, remember, he's a walk-on, and either it is a mistake because of it's a lack of experience, but Shedeur ain't, because he didn't go back to him. He went to who could get it done, and that's his go-to. And now he gonna need somebody else, because nobody else can be trusted. I don't know, because when they put the tight end out there, pay attention to the tight end, Whitehart. He caused the holding penalty that negated Quashon Junkins' run. Remember that? And all of that with Gage, Whitehart, Isaiah Bond, all that is after Shedeur get 2 touchdowns and it slowed the game down. It slowed the scoring down. Like a switch. When it looked like a switch, it is a switch. So Gage and Isaiah Bond are both not making a lot of money. And neither is KT Leviston and Tevin Jenkins. All right, it said nobody needs wires today. You just need Bluetooth, the phone, or whatever. It says Stefanski is a habitual liar for months straight. Yeah, you can't believe nothing. Like I can't even really listen to his press conference. It better be 1 minute, and that's it. It said the jeweler was there. Yep, Pooch, he was there. CP was trying to move away, trying to be. Oh, Haslam was trying to be the power in the. He was definitely trying to be the power. You know how you know? Because they were talking and he immediately took charge of the conversation. How you feeling? The most obvious thing. And then, he said what he said, and I don't know what else he said. In other words, it wasn't a long conversation. Coach Prime didn't need nothing. He couldn't push it. So it was like, I know you. It's cool, but we not like that. It wasn't. And I thought he hugged the lady too. If he hugged the lady too, then they all know each other. They all know each other. And I thought he did hug her, really. Yeah, it was a lot going on in that very short 23 seconds. CP was trying to move away. Yeah, I think he actually took control of the situation. You're right about that. It said, Coach Prime needs to leave these bodyguards with Shedeur. Yep. It said, pretty girl, they knew she was going to ball out. They had the defense to let come score. It said they knew she was going to ball out. So they had the defense. You said she was going to ball out. Who we talking about? It said, well, our episode was lit. Bucky at the game, in the box suite, and in the arena with Cam and 12. Yeah, that was really nice. It said CP needs to leave these bodyguards for Shedeur, with Shedeur. It said, but Shedeur doesn't need an O-line. He never had one. And guess what? He got 393 yards and 4 touchdowns without one. And Kevin Stefanski thought weakening the O-line was going to slow down Shedeur. I personally don't think he expected the Wildcats to work. I really don't. I don't think he made them too difficult. Before, the Wildcat was just Quashawn Junkins running in. Now you got Quashawn Junkins out here throwing to Gage, who been dropping the ball all damn day. You didn't want that to work. Drawing up that kind of play. That's crazy. You made it extremely difficult to get 2 goddamn points. When Shedeur could have just threw. You have a highly accurate quarterback that got you 393 yards, and you want to take him out the game to play around with the ball, let the clock run out or whatever. I don't know. All right, y'all, we're going to get ready to get out of here. This was good. So if everybody go watch it, if everybody goes and watch the video, let me know if y'all see kind of what we were talking about. 260 bucks, hit the like button on your way out. Again, it was a lot of peculiarities happening once I saw the little girl, the chick from, she's not that young, the other chick from when Shiloh was impersonating Shedeur, and she ran up and said, what? There you go. I gotta make sure you don't get into no trouble. And Shiloh stepped in a big brother mode. Yeah, he don't never get in no trouble. I knew then. I knew then. And that's the same chick that they got bird dogging Coach Pryor. No coincidences there. No coincidences there at all. So I don't know. All right, so we gone. Yep, Bucky don't miss a darn thing with that camera. Okay, so we gone, y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow. This was good. Put it in the chat if y'all see something. If you see something else, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it one more time. But I know that was that girl, and I noticed when Coach Pryor walked off, the smile instantly dropped as if it was plastered on. And I'm focused on these big gentlemen behind. And they not right behind Coach Prime, but they in the vicinity. But it's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot of space, right? So, and Coach Prime, he never even looked back in that little bitty clip. So he was confident that they was doing what they were supposed to be doing, and he was all good. So I don't know, but we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back. The agenda is still the agenda, guys. The agenda is still the agenda. That's the whole point for this conversation. The agenda is still the agenda. All right. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. 256 of us on the way out. Hit the like button. Have a good one.